Check, 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 check. That's a little better. Damn. Oh, welcome back to Cannabis in Canada. I am a persistent motherfucker, I can tell you that much. I'm not gonna give up that easy. After 3 weeks in Ontario, everything seems that much more complicated. I'm still not even fully unpacked, but things are that much more complicated for me right now. 100%. Didn't even have the right camera on. That's better. All right, let's throw up our sponsors. And we'll get into the show. Honestly, I just decided out of nowhere to do a show. I had an amazing workout today. Amazing quality of life, Dave, if you have it. And yeah, just a lot of productivity. So I'm just checking the audio feed and everything now. And yeah, we'll get into the show. Man, I'm still adapting back to this. I'm sorry for all the glitches too tonight. Wow. That was a rough show to try and get going, but I tell you, persistence pays. I don't care anybody out there getting into this. Right now, I'm a one-man show. I'm running 2 cameras. As you see, I switch between the camera angles, so I'm actually running, you know, dual camera angles like this, and at the same time running split screen. Got my second screen over here with my monitor over here, so it makes for complications sometimes when you got that, and then your professional mics. It just makes for an ongoing problem. Anyway, with enough of my excuses, there, my audio sounds good. That's good enough for me. I can check the chat. Evening, Sean. Evening, Iman. Guys, please share around, like, and let's just get this show on the go. Fuck, it's good to be back in BC, but you know, I already miss Ontario. Such good people there. Really, you know, I'm from Ontario. I was born in Oshawa, raised in Oshawa, and but you know, just to hang out with some Ontarians that yeah are in the same position I am when it comes to just being thankful for the whole coalition Allard issue, if you have it. That whole factor became very, very important. So yeah. That's one of the things I had a lot of fun with in Ontario, because you know, like Hillary and Frank, for instance, you know, continuing, you know, I won't get into exactly with last names now, but just different people that you don't really get a chance to hang out otherwise, and we finally got a chance to hang out and do things in person, and yeah, that was a lot of fun. And home of the Canada Juice, right on, Michael. That's possible, Michael. Kevin, yes. My brother Kevin had me out on the boat a couple of times out fishing. Really a lot of fun in Ontario, and yeah, I got a lot of footage. I've been sitting here off-sourcing a lot of data earlier today before getting out and actually starting to train. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff I've got to do for myself, for working on yeah, on building things up. So. Thank you. The Natural Remedy banner, definitely. Well, this is a Natural Remedy hat. I don't have a close-up. I don't think the other camera angle will even give a close enough angle on my hat. But I think if I turned it around, you'd see it there, the Natural Remedy on the front of it, and when you wear it that way. And it also has the Natural Remedy tag here. So we definitely sport in that. You know, it's a primary sponsor of the show, so it's somebody that not only is a primary sponsor, but has stood by the coalition, was somebody that has maintained looking after patients and has maintained doing the best they can to find their way in this new market. I mean, this is a crazy market. It's a crazy world out there. Always have your full pack of pure hemp papers, guys. Little shout out for pure hemp there. Always have your bag of weed in case you have to come and do a show. And then always have your dab rig and distillate, coffee, terminal, and you're good. But I definitely, and if you guys, we've got a lot of people asking about natural, oh, I gotta switch camera angles again, shit. We got a lot of people asking about Natural Remedy gear. All I can tell you guys is it may be available soon. Until I have my update with the company, which will be real soon, I don't want to say anything over and above that. So, damn, I didn't switch the camera. But yeah, the Natural Remedy gear, the one thing about it that I particularly like, there, that works. We'll switch it this way. No. Camera 2, switch. Sorry guys, my bad. There we go, camera 2 to camera 1. And switch. That's how it works. Okay, sorry. Yeah, one hat went into the one hat went into the Grand River when we were out on the river with Tracy and Mo and Linda's boat in their jet boat that Kevin helped to cast us off in. Vicky's hat went flying off her head. I had mine on too. We actually had our Natural Remedy sweaters on too, which look really sharp. They got the Natural Remedy logo like this across the bottom of the sweater, and they got it on the front. It's way too hot to be wearing a sweater. Even here in BC, I did notice a huge climate adapting back to BC was a lot easier than trying to adapt to Ontario. I mean, my God, the RH there, the humidity levels is just so high. I can see where growers would have a hard time in the summer. Not really a hard time. It would take a little extra power than what it would take out here in BC to run your climate control, simply because that RH would need to be pulled out of the air to bring down the potential for bud rot and mold. So just on those factors alone, I wouldn't want to be growing in those conditions. I think that's probably why BC bud maybe is a little more productive. I don't know. We seem to get that different change up. But I know a lot of people have been saying I had a lucky week when I was there. I got very little rain and well, 3 weeks I was there. Very little rain and lots of time. We were able to get into Oshawa, Scarborough, Toronto, Hamilton, out to Cayuga. I can never say it right, but out to Six Nations Reserve, out on I believe it's called the Grand River. Out to Peterborough, onto the Extract Express. There's just so much we did over that 3 week period. It just gets crazy. Yeah, Sean, dehumidifier definitely would be a must. I couldn't see it being done any other way. That's for sure. Jeff Ortiz, there he is. Sent out a picture with him. And again, LED removes the RH. Good point, Kevin. Sorry, good point, Jeff. Without needing to use. This is why I support LEDs, and I only now. I mean, if you watch my YouTube channel, it goes back to 2007, where I was teaching people how to grow. I was a big no-go for LEDs, but this was back in 2007, 2008, all the way through 2012, before the government tried to come after our gardens. I was teaching people how to grow on YouTube, and one of the things I never did was promote LEDs. Until finally we've gotten the King LEDs and the kind LEDs, these other ones that are reaching the nanometer or the nano spectrum that we want. So in nanometers, you want between 400 and 800 nanometers. That's just your light spectrum that you want at any given time. So it's very important that you get your spectrum in there. Most LEDs will just barely reach the 400 nanometer range because it's very hard to get in that sun spectrum range. So and there's other ones that are doing a lot better and making a lot more, getting a much better spectrum. The way I see it is if they can grow all vegetables, every vegetable that's known to man on Earth, if they were able to grow them all in the space station, then they've got LED technology that hits that 400 to 800 nanometer. Again, 480, 560. Just look at your lights. Look at your Kelvin scale, and look at what it shows for your light spectrum, and you'll see what I mean. There's a scale there for nanometers, and you'll see it's always between 400 and 800 for optimal lighting for your plants. So very important. I don't know why I rambled off on that, but as I said, it's Cannabis in Canada, and that's what we talk about. All that's Cannabis in Canada. So Dark Harvest, the video, I believe, is now out. I got to get out and I got to see it. I was in Ontario and did not have a chance to see it. So if any of y'all have seen it, let me know what you think, because yeah, I did have a chance to interview the producer, and it's a friend of ours, friend of a friend. So Dark Harvest trailer. So I was interested in seeing what.
In 2 weeks, the government's gonna.
This is it. So let's see if I can throw this on here as I was able to do before. And yeah, guys, if you haven't seen Dark Harvest, what I'm going to do is try to organize a small gathering, you know, of communal people here in BC. We've got, hey Gary, what's up, brother? We're going to get a few different people here in BC together anyway to get out and see this movie, because it's the first movie that Cheech Marin's done, playing the godfather of cannabis of all things. But it's the first movie that he's kind of done with respect to with respect to that. Sorry, I'm just first movie that he's done with respect to cannabis or marijuana since back in the day, and it's not a comedy. This is a much darker side of of legalization, and it's a reality too that, you know, sometimes you don't, legalization doesn't necessarily mean a good thing. It means a transition, a transition from everything that we knew to everything it's going to be, to all the big power players that come in, to the underground that's existed and provided for the cannabis culture or the cannabis community for the past 50 years. So it's very important stuff. It's good stuff to, in my opinion, to see people actually taking. Of course, my desktop presenter is not going to work. For me to actually see people taking the capture device. All right, so I'm just gonna keep this going. I'm just gonna keep talking. Anyway, the Dark Harvest video, it's one of those ones that again, I haven't had a chance to see it, but from what I've heard about it is again, it just casts a different side to the whole. Yeah, I can't find it there either. Shit.
In 2 weeks, the government's going to announce that it's.
I need to find out why this one program is not working. Bear with me, guys. Just bear with me. I wish I had a crew on this, but it is what it is. There we go. That makes it a little bit better. Now I should be able to do this and this. Just bear with me, guys. Again, this is all stuff. I'm glad that my daughter's actually going to college, learning a lot of this stuff, because I'm going to learn a lot of new stuff as well as we go. So, what can I say? But there. So here it is, guys. Here's Cheech Marin and AC Peterson that are starring in Dark Harvest. And remember, all the trailer speaks for itself. And then I do have an interview. I'm not sure even if I got that queued up, but I'm pretty sure I'll be able to queue up the interview I did with the producer for those that are interested. But most importantly, I'd like to share this around, and I'm not sure if it's out yet. I know that it was July, it was supposed to be out, and we're getting towards the end of July. So I'm not sure. I haven't heard, so I haven't heard if it's out yet. But anyway, here's the trailer.
In 2 weeks, the government's going to announce that it's totally legal. So my advice to you, if I was you, I would go to some place that's sunny every day, away from people like you and me, far away. What do you think about leaving earlier, like a week from now? This is the last crowd. We're done, that's it. How do you see marijuana in prison? Someone cut 105 plants down and killed them. My life's in those bags. Whatever you do, don't go to the old spot. We have a homicide, and you were the only one that was there. Your internal investigation's not suspect. What? You're suspended. You have to go. Don't you get it? You have to go. I'm taking you with you. You're fine, this guy. Well, see how easy it is to get those label?
Anybody else see no other key?
No. We're just looking for a friend of mine, Earl Freeman, black guy with a beard.
You know anybody trying to roll some full plans?
Oh, that'd be pretty weird. I don't know if I should be calling you. Well, it smells like marijuana. Hey, you out there? What do you mean am I there? You just killed someone. What? Up there! It's gonna go legal. This is the cops' last chance to settle those scores. I turned down the payoff to get this guy. Ernie, trust me. Find out you're lying to me, I'm gonna kill you and whoever you're working with. This bear trap thing's coming down on you, brother.
There it is. So Cheech Marin, AC Peterson, and the crew. Yeah, it was just it was an amazing thing to sit down and make sure I kill this audio. It was very interesting to sit down with the producers as well, and or with the producer and get into the interview. So let's just jump into that. It'll give me a chance to catch my breath, and actually I'm going to reset the camera here. There we go. So yeah, it's one of those things that please share around, and yeah, that's going to be a badass movie. There's going to be a ton of videos. Again, right now I'm so locked up filming the documentary, and I know you guys hear a lot of different innuendos and shit out there online, and in no different than you see, it's extremely costly to just do these free shows. We do a lot here at Cannabis of Canada. We give a lot of free information, and it costs a lot of money to put all this stuff together, a lot of personal time and study and education and credentials to bring this content to you. So it's something that we're very proud of. It's no different than wanting to document the coalition's documentary, to document what happened here in Canada. So those out there that think that we're somehow funding this off some, I don't know, some miracle fund that doesn't exist, then, you know, to each their own. It's very unfortunate, because when the documentary comes out and Mr. Conroy speaks to the money very vividly and very clearly as to, you know, what money went where. And it's just unfortunate that it's something that we still got to deal with. You know, people want to go out there and, you know, they talk about having haters, but they don't have anything to hate on. Usually you need to be successful in something, you need to be good at what you do, and you'll end up actually getting a few haters. It's really weird how it works, but when you're successful, you can't make everyone happy, or you're Jesus. I'm not Jesus. You can never make everybody happy. Moreover, if you do your job as a leader, as you do your job right, you're never going to make your crew happy. Not everybody, because everybody has to follow the same set of rules. That's what a good leader does. That's how you win. That's how you achieve your mission. The coalition stayed focused on our mission, and we achieved it. And now we're documenting it, you know. And for those that are out there wanting to hate on that, well, hate on it. You know, hate on the success, hate on what you want, and hate on the attorneys. You know, hate on yourself. It's one of those things which I'm not going to lend any more attention to than that. But more look at what's coming. We had a chance to film at least, geez, there was 8 core interviews that we got done in Ontario, and they weren't, you know, there's Mr. Conroy, who's been filmed already with a full detailed chronological from 2012 through 2016. Like, it's tattooed on my arm here. This is when the Allard, you know, again, it wasn't called Allard in 2012. As the documentary covers and Mr. Conroy covers, it was actually, had no case. It was the MMAR Coalition Against Repeal trust account that I opened. And there was a client named Jason Wilcox. And that was how it started. And by extension of that, there was a coalition. It was an ad hoc approach. And this all comes out in the documentary, which is good. The documentary isn't really being made for Canada. It's going to be good for us to release it next year and to say, hey, you all getting to grow 4 plants, this is why. Otherwise, you'd be buying from Shoppers Drug Mart and licensed producers. The only reason you can grow is because patients stood up and made it so, under the Constitution. We didn't sit back and just take it up the ass and vote in the goddamn Justin Trudeau and his fucking gang of friends to take over the country. No, we actually stood our ground in the court of law and said, fuck you, you're not taking our gardens, and stood our ground on reasonable access, and that we're dignified patients that deserve reasonable access. Motherfuckers don't like the way I talk? Fuck you. That's called motherfucking liberty and right to a medical patient and medical autonomy. Those that don't understand that, then they're not there. And that's where the bad Jason comes out, the big bear comes out. That's okay. I don't mind doing that. There's a time and a place. Because there's always people out there that want to disgrace the medical patient, make money off us, make bank off us, play us, pretend us, and fucking jerk us around. And God knows we're already facing ailments that we have to fight that makes us weaker than the average man or woman. But my God, we overcome hurdles bigger than anybody. It was no recreational community that took down the federal government of Canada's attempt to ban home growing. It was a fucking gang of medical patients, thousands of them, and thousands of their supporters. That's who turned over the federal government's attempt to ban home growing. Nobody else. Nobody at all. R.V. Smith gave us extracts. Allard gave us growing. What else did anybody else give? I'd say 16 other constitutional challenges. But that's right, those are all medical challenges. Motherfucking medical challenges. I guess my frustration, if you guys are wondering why I'm getting a little riled up, my frustrations lie in going to Ontario, seeing the distress in some of my people I didn't even know. people that know me through the internet, but have been inspired by the coalition, and they hear that I'm stepping back because of my own reasoning, you know, my own medical reasons. I step back from some of the things that are being said, but you know, it also comes from with that leadership position comes all the bullshit that comes with it. And as I said, you need to be able to be the big bear and be able to push people back. You need to make the hard calls and throw out the person in the wheelchair if it's necessary. And you need to fucking keep your troops focused on their mission and raise funds and ignore everything, because if you allow those little rat packs nibbling at your ankles to make you trip and fall on your face, it's your own fault, because you were paying attention to the rat pack instead of squashing them by their fucking heads. So all you little squishy rats, just know you're marked, you're noted, and you might get squished, because we're no longer before the courts. One thing I learned in Ontario, I found it very unfortunate, because as I'm filming, and believe me, breaking my own back and sweating my own ass off, my friends in Ontario that seen me know what I'm talking about, busting my own ass to film this documentary. I don't have a full film crew. I ain't riding in there with a fucking goddamn jet plane with a fucking film crew. It's fucking me and a goddamn camera and a fucking mic set that's in there filming and trying to document what happened here, because it's historic. Same reason John Conroy was willing to take part in the documentary. The historic nature of this trial, or historic nature of what we did. But yeah, in Ontario, I had a chance to see just a lot of people that were inspired, and what the coalition was meant to do was to empower one another, to empower each other to do stuff that we otherwise don't think that we're able to do. We otherwise say, we can't do this. We're not fucking possible because we're medical, which I say bullshit, but people say we can't. No, we can't, you know? But in Ontario, I seen strength. I seen patients coming together that have never met each other, but they wear that coalition pin and they fucking wear it with pride. And my God, that's what it was built for. It was never built for any one person. I've never once said any one person made the coalition, any one person made Allard. The only reason the Allard name is there, it's alphabetical. You know, Allard was our primary plaintiff. Then you got Bleemish, you got Herbert, you got other people. But there was no, before there was plaintiffs, there was a coalition taking in 3,000 victim impact statements from all of y'all across the country. I filed 1,500 of them myself under the wing of John Conroy. 1,500. I heard all your stories. I've read them all. That's what real advocates do. That's putting in real work. You want to hate on me? Hate on real work, motherfucker. That's where I'm at, because you know what? Me stepping back, I realize that some people are getting hurt because they don't want to see, not just me, but other people step back. And then the other part of me gets mad because we built a coalition for something that was, to raise funds and do what it's done. The documentary is really to talk about the trial, how it was funded, and the ad hoc, and no pun intended, but grassroots approach to funding a federal case. With, I don't know, I guess with funding a federal case and with going after the truth, I often hear people say, well, let's hear about the truth. Let's talk about the truth. My hashtag is time tells all truths. And I challenge anybody now, especially you little hater bitches running around talking shit on the internet, you know? Nothing more you can do but run around and talk shit. Produce something. Or shut the fuck up. Like really. It's sickening, deafening. It's sad for the community. And if you want to continue about hate, stop hating yourselves. Try and give a little positive reinforcement and try and do a little better in the community for what that's worth. But as you can see, I left BC and I went to Ontario feeling one way, and after being around my friends and family, came back, of course, a lot more stronger. And I'm only going to get stronger. I'm going to go in. I'm going to work on me and do the stuff that I probably should have done a while ago, which medical patients normally do. We don't put ourselves on hold. We don't put our life on hold, and we don't, again, and well said, Jeff Ortiz, there's keyboard warriors, and then there's on the ground warriors, and there's people that show up in the courtroom, people that hire the lawyers, people that have fucking put in the fights and put their name on the dotted line. That's us. That's me. That's my friends. And that's what I'm trying to document. So as we see each other and we continue to film and cover this, to my friends that are in the documentary and that know me, and to the many, again, this is thousands. There's one thing I'll remind people: if you make 10 friends for every one enemy, you're moving in the right direction. If you make 10 enemies for every one friend, you're moving in the wrong direction. With this coalition, I have made 10 friends for every one enemy. And to all my enemies, I say, I bid you well. And I hope one day that you can come to see the light and change your ways. Because to continue to attack the good nature of the coalition is nothing more than to kick the cane out from an old lady. Shame on you. Enough said. Anyway, I'm going to change the tone here and flip it around to smoking weed and doing dabs, because we don't want to give the attention to the people that, this is what they want, is attention. And what I don't normally like to give, and as my crew knows, the guys that worked with me, the ladies that worked with me in the past 6 years doing the coalition, they know never once did I say, launch, let's go get that group, go attack this group. No, we said we stay focused on our shit, we look after our group, we police it, and we raise our funds. And we pay these lawyers so we can actually change the law. That's what real leadership is, and that's what I'm talking about moving forward. And it's amazing the power of social media, that there's people out there, and whether you want to call them keyboard warriors, whatever you want to call them, they can do damage when the end patient are the ones suffering. What I realized in Ontario, and as I felt more and more, to a degree, shame for walking away from something I built. I built the coalition from member number one, from modeling it to where it is now. No matter what kind of mess and shape it is in, it is what it is. But that coalition was built, and it was designed to be dissolved. It was built to really, it was to bring a coalition of organizations. That's what a coalition is. It's a group of organizations and groups that want to fight for a common cause. So you build a coalition, you know, and that's what we did. And yeah, anyway, let me play the past to present coalition video. Maybe that'll help me change my tone and get you guys back to remembering what we did, where we came from, and most importantly, where we're going, because I can tell you now, this is not over. This is far from over. Please share around. Thank you, Adrian and Leah and others for sharing. Guys, honestly, share it around like it. This is honestly an ad hoc show. It's an open show, and if you have questions, throw them into the chat, because I'm actually active with the chat tonight and in here able to do this. While we're on the coalition past to present video, it is 6 minutes and 40 seconds long. I am going to roll a joint, do a dab, and get myself ready for the next round. Share it around, like it. If we get it up to around 25, 30 people, whatever, then we'll do the natural remedy giveaway. For some reason, our winner in Ontario from Vicky's house, Vicky's dad's house, we had a winner. And whoever that winner was, they have not contacted me. If you're out there, it's cannabisincanada@gmail.com. I have to watch the footage back to get the name of the winner. But they definitely won for the natural remedy. And anyway, for this week's giveaway, we can look for that after the break. Anyway, here's the coalition past to present documentary, and this or past to present video that I did before the coalition was over. This is why when you see this video ends, there's no end of the trial yet. It's because this was all done before there was a trial. We could already see we were already making history. And we did not want to be, this is the biggest thing. People wonder why we're doing it. It's because we don't want anybody to ever forget that those lawyers would never have been in the courtroom defending your right to grow in this country if it wasn't for the medical patients of Canada, 10,000 of them, rising up together with their supporters and raising the funds to put those lawyers in the courtroom, our swords, our weapons, and fight for our rights to uphold liberty under the Constitution and the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, Section 7 in Canada. We'll see you after break.
The Canadian government's getting out of the marijuana business. Canada's health minister announced changes to medicinal marijuana access. They're aimed at reducing crime, but many people think it will do the exact opposite.
He's one of 26,000 Canadians with a license to grow medical marijuana, starting to feel anxious again since the Canadian government announced the system's about to change. Soon there will be no more medical marijuana produced and distributed by the government, and no more growing regulated marijuana from home.
Jason Wilcox has been organizing the coalition against the repeal of the medical marijuana access regulations, particularly the personal production licenses and designated production licenses.
I believe in patient options. You should be able to go and have somebody grow it for you if they have the place in the room and the ability, or order it from a pharmacy or a big business, whatever you want to call it, however the program is modeled. And then you should also have the right fundamentally, especially if it's to put in your own body, just like when you smoke it, you should have the right to grow it.
Health Canada will, if successful, only license large-scale commercial operators who produce our medicine at up to 4 times the current cost.
Government is simply hijacking and cornering the market, my friends. The issue is getting up to 26,222 legal growers, trying to get as many of them as possible to understand and unite and get on this file so that we can actually be prepared. So when Health Canada chooses to make their move, we're all prepared to take it on.
A federal judge has approved an injunction allowing current licensed medical marijuana users to continue growing their own pot past April 1st.
A court in British Columbia ruled users can continue growing their own pot for now. This decision comes less than 2 weeks before new laws for medical pot take effect in Canada.
This is huge news, you know, and then so many patients right now, they're not suffering tonight. Tonight they're going to get to sleep. It's very hard for me not to get angry and frustrated as I think about the 500 plus impact statements I've read of people paranoid, and not just paranoid, God-given fear of going back onto pharmaceuticals because of what the government's doing now to medical patients. It's unconstitutional, it's not Canadian, it's unethical, and it's not right.
My doctor, he wouldn't take my MRIs, he wouldn't send my MMR forms. And through other things, like I was really having a tough time, but it seems that one major stressor, removing that threat of losing my guard by the government, even having the threat of armed guards coming into my home to make sure that it's shut down, really hurt me and hindered my healing. And that was the beginning.
I'm aware of people who don't have a medicinal license, who buy their marijuana from medicinal growers.
I would use the analogy though too, that we look at how many drunk drivers and people on pills right now are going out driving drunk and killing people. We police the drunk drivers, we don't throw all the cars off the road. And that's what they were trying to do with the patients, and I'm glad that justice stepped in and interfered and allowed the Constitution to have a chance to put the MMPR under constitutional scrutiny.
Right.
I just really hope that we all get what I think we deserve, which is freedom. And that's what this is all about.
The coalition of what's going on, these are people that are willing to stand up to the government with their endless amounts of money in pockets and, you know, do what we can, hit the streets, hit the roads, canvas, talk to people, you know, just go out there and promote to one person at a time, change perception and views by, you know what I mean, articulating truth. And, you know, I'm proud to be a part of that movement.
Now we're at $180,000 raised. What are we looking at over and above the $250,000 that we originally set out?
I'd have to estimate high. I'd have to say, look, let's shoot for $1 million because who knows? You've seen the attitude of the federal government. They recently are putting ads on paid for by the taxpayers about the dangers of cannabis. It's just another herb.
There's going to be a lot going on in the next year. It's our one big historical chance. Either we make it happen or we don't.
It doesn't matter who you are or what you are. If you have a belief in ensuring that people's rights should be taken care of, you should be donating.
It's for the people. It's we the people who want this, and you know, it's coming.
People needed access to these products because it helped prolong and help, you know, save a lot of suffering.
This is going to end. We're past the point of whether we will or will not win our gardens. We will. So yeah, you licensed producers, you better be worried. I'm not going anywhere. This is far from over.
I'm pretty confident that you're going to win. I mean, you can't guarantee it, but I feel like that's going to be a preserved thing, the right to grow your own cannabis for medical purposes, as it should be.
I think that we got a super strong case. I'm really looking forward to what John can do in the court, and I hope it's heard fairly and with an open mind.
I hope we legalize, but again, I hope we legalize with gardens so that there isn't this fight that I worry about between the underground, these growers that exist, and I know them. You know, the BC economy is almost run by these growers. You know, if that starts a gas war, then security is going to go up because the gangs get involved or real organized crime gets involved. I say, why doesn't the top down first recognize it as medicine, take it out of the CDSA, classify it as a safe and harmless herb it is, and put it into herbology, or put it back into pharmacopoeia and let the doctors prescribe it the way it should be, and look after the damn patients. At the end of the day, it's about the patients.
Hello, thank you for joining me. I'm Amanda McKay, and this is another episode of Growing Exposed. We're the show that takes you inside the world of cannabis growing. This week, we're going to take you to a garden nestled amongst an old
The Canadian government's getting out of the marijuana business. Canada's health minister announced changes to medicinal marijuana access. They're aimed at reducing crime, but many people think it will do the exact opposite.
He's one of 26,000 Canadians with a license to grow medical marijuana, starting to feel anxious again.
And show us what they do to grow a high-quality strain called Super Kush. Let's get started with a quick rundown of what else you can expect to see in this exciting episode of Growing Exposed.
First, we take a look at how a 300-light garden keeps it cool.
They're putting about approximately 1 million BTUs. That's British thermal units. That's obscene amounts of cooling for a garden we're about to go take a look at that's second to none.
We compare the differences between a large operation and something anyone can do at home.
The environmental conditions are the same, no matter you're running a 1-light garden or a 300-light garden.
Next, we explore how this simple system gets big results.
So what you notice in here is wall-to-wall cannabis. There's 80 lights, and it's clean.
David Robinson shares workout tips for strengthening plants in a segment we call Teachings of the Garden Sage.
So by supplying your garden with an adequate level of air movement, the important thing is that all the plants are dancing.
Finishing up, we soak in the bright lights, smelling the sweet aromas in the flower room.
My hands are covered in resin. I wish you had smell-o-vision because it stinks beautifully.
All right, welcome back. So we are back on and audio is working. So there it is. Double check that it's working. Pretty sure that it's working. But yeah, that's, just wait for this to come on. Audio is working and we're styling, except my computer's restarting. So aside from that, that's not cool. But pretty sure that's working. But yeah. Alrighty. So let's get into the show a little more. I still didn't really get a chance to get many dabs. Man, got up, took my evening meds. Man, y'all know what it's like to be disabled, man. It's especially in the summer. It's like friggin' the heat sucks all your energy out. If you're immunocompromised, it definitely already wavers you. If you suffer from arthritis or any pain, so if you have, again, any chronic pain issues, the heat just makes it worse. It just, oh, I feel sorry for the elderly in this weather, man. Because it's, yeah, it's definitely one of those things that just wears and tears on you. So, yeah, it's good to be back, and it's good to keep doing this. Hey, Tracy. Yeah, no, it's again, it's not easy running this. I wish I had my camera, which I could show you guys literally what was around here. But between this monitor here, which runs my cameras, all the different equipment anyway, it just gets to be a little much. But the humidity is the worst. It's the worst for growers too. It's like Sage was just saying, David Robertson, who works with us with Growing Exposed, a good friend of Green Planet Nutrients and a good friend of mine. A pleasure of getting to, pleasure of always talking with David because I was with him at the Christmas party, and he's a really, really good guy to talk with, and very informative. Check out his book, The Garden Sage, and that's available. I believe it's even a potential free download now. I'm not sure, but again, it's all about learning. Like he said, whether it's one light, and like we were talking earlier with Jeff Ortiz, whether it's an LED or whether it's a HID, It doesn't matter. Climate control is climate control. The LED just removes that extra heat that even makes it more humidity, you know, in the summertime. So if you're able to run LED during veg and then flip into a HID for flower, then that's an option too if you're that much worried about weight. If you're not as much worried about weight, especially if you're going to run oil and your buds don't look, your bud structure doesn't matter, then my God, run LEDs. You grow for 10 cents a gram with an LED. It's $1.50 a gram or $1.25 a gram when you use a HID. And whether that's high pressure sodium or metal halide, doesn't matter. So guys, like, look at what the changing times are. Also, they're looking to ban HIDs in like high intensity discharge lamps. When I say HIDs, they're looking to ban all of those in Colorado for home growing. If we get into that sort of state here in Canada where somehow they ban HIDs from home growing, then you'll only have the option of Christmas tree lighting. That's the way I always talk about using LEDs, because we can talk about them just like being Christmas tree lights. They're only as dangerous as a 400 watt computer or anything else in the house. Anything that's pulling 300, 400 watts. You have 1,000 watt speakers, well, they're pulling 1,000 watts too. It depends on how you're looking at, I guess, different things. But for me, it's looking at tents, it's looking at the future, and looking at what they're doing. You got to study what's going on around the world. And when it comes to home growing, the one thing that they're doing now, that they haven't been able to ban home growing itself here in Canada, and it looks like the rest of the world is going to follow suit, then they're going to have to look at how best to deal with the concerns that they had, which would have been any of their concerns would have been the dangers of growing itself. I don't even know what's going to come on here. All right, I'm just going to kill this. Oh, wait, I don't have to think about it. Time in the room while flowering. You can run both HID. That's just light spectrum. You can run both, and believe me, many people actually pull HIDs or LEDs down the side for side light paneling, you know, to go into your sides, and a lot of guys will use in the old school, you know, I'll speak for myself, and you guys, if you see episode 4 of Growing Exposed, you can see me doing the old school methods of putting one HPS light, high pressure sodium light, with 25 metal halide lights surrounding it, just to give a little cross spectrum in the bedroom. Similarly, some guys will put one metal halide in a flowering room, you know, to offset the blue spectrum. Again, it is not for me to speak to. I'm not a light spectrum expert. I just know about the 400 to 800 nanometers on the Kelvin scale. These are the things that matter to me. It's a fundamental science. It's like when people talk to me about flushing. I don't care if you say 3 weeks, you know your flush is fine. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I take a goddamn digital pen, and that digital pen will tell me what the EC, the electrical conductivity, is of that soil, of that given medium, or of that reservoir. And if it is not under 100 ppm, then it's not flushable to me. It's not considered a full flush. That's a scientific approach to flushing, and not a goddamn guess approach. Now outdoor, you don't got that favoritism of being able to test the soil because you're using time-release fertilizers, etc. It gets a little bit harder to be able to test it. If it's pots in your backyard, you can do runoffs and you can test it. That's for sure. This is all important stuff to understand how all that works. But as we transition forward, like I'll give you an example. It was 2 summers ago where we ran the test on the LEDs, and it was in the summer, and I was traveling at the time, so it was very awkward, you know, for our people to keep testing, and we ran a very basic pull, and we still pulled 1.2 pounds with a King LED in a 5x5 foot tent. So again, if what you're looking to pull is not perfect big huge bud structure, because you don't want to show off your buds, but you're going to be running oils and making your own tinctures or making edibles, then my God, use an LED, grow for 10 cents a gram. Why go for more? Yeah, you're going to get a little more weight, but again, the weight comes down to again, I'll often say the weight comes down to the grower. If you really feel the need to pay that extra money, I mean, if you add the HID, the high intensity discharge lamp, you then have to deal with air conditioning, you have to deal with dehumidifiers, you have to deal with all kinds of different factors, which is climate control. You're Mother Nature. When you're indoors, you're the sun, the light, the wind, the rain, you're everything to that plant. That's all I can say. And until you understand dialing in your climate, it doesn't matter, like David said in that commercial, whether it's 1 light or 1,000 lights. What matters is that the climate in the room is controlled perfectly for those plants. And if it's not, if you don't have the right air, wind, rain, you know, sun, if you don't got it right, those plants won't grow optimally. If you get it right, you will produce optimal plants with an LED light or with a HID. You know, the only difference is the HIDs put out a little stronger light spectrum. That's one thing that is still there. Like I said, if you look on the Kelvin scale, pick up one of your bulbs that when you buy it in the box, you look on the back of the box, it'll show you the nanometers, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It'll be 460, 480, maybe 520. These are the different scales that you'll have in nanometers. But you look at the LEDs, they're just at the 420, the 415, the 440 range. That's what we're seeing them get into. But we're not seeing them in the higher fours yet. And I believe that it's just a matter of time until they release the technology back to we the people. Like I said, if they can grow all these plants, and guys, you guys aren't sharing this show enough. We're not getting enough people in here for this info. So, but like I said, if they can grow every plant known to us in space, and they've got all of our genetics hidden in the Arctic, you know, in some goddamn vault that's called fucking Noah's Ark of all things, or the Ark, whatever. If they can do all this and grow all this shit in space, you got to remember it's dark in space. It's all about climate control and spectrum. Now, if they can grow all of our vegetables to optimal control for those astronauts, then we can grow for ourselves at home. We just need the technology to be released and or dial in the technology. And the companies are just coming out with the stuff now. I've often said that when the time comes, like in Allard, we argued, and if those of you that remember the paperwork, the flyers the coalition handed around, we often made that argument that we could grow for $1.50 a gram. Why would we pay $10 or $12 a gram to a licensed producer if we can produce for ourselves? That was part of our argument. I would have loved at that time, because back in 2012 we didn't have LEDs that could produce, or we would have been saying, look, you can grow for 10 cents a gram, Your Honor, with this new LED technology. That would be today's argument. That's just truth. Guys, please share around. Friends, I love you. Share, like the show. It's not easy to get this stuff going, and what keeps us going is when we see our numbers up and we see that that we're actually connecting with the audience. And I say we, I mean there's Justin back east that's doing the Just Compassion show. Guys, check them out. It's an extension of Cannabis in Canada. Justin's got this going. We hope to have him on a live feed. Jesus, it's really on me and my medical situation right now that's been holding back a lot of the Cannabis in Canada advancements. And as well, you know, we've got this coalition documentary. When I say my health, between my health and filming this documentary and trying to be a producer of something I've never done. I've never went to school to be a producer. It's not something that is easy to try to put together, but I know what happened, and I want people to know that story, and that's important. And a lot of y'all know what happened, and some of you might say, well, big deal, it happened. It's, you know, what does that matter? And I would just remind you guys that it really matters, because we made a public interest case. We got $870,000 or whatever back. The federal government paid us $870,000. When I say us, our lawyers paid them $870,000. When you add that with our $300,000 that we raised, you get the payout of 100 and whatever, or 1.2 million or something like that was our total, and there's still 80,000 left owing. So when you look at how all that worked out, it's very much so the fact we got money back. We made it a public interest case. What that means is now, if the government attacks again, if they come out like this 100 centimeter rule, it's silly, but should they charge you for growing over 100 centimeters, I think it would be very arguable in court. I think a lawyer would love to take that, you know, if they ever actually charge somebody for such a ridiculous thing. I think they would just cut the plants down, will become standard, or issue a ticket. But again, to look at this, again, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be argued in the future. What matters is never before Allard, there's never been a case that was funded by Canada, by the people. It was funded by dispensaries, by friends of friends, you know, by people that were already had their business going and had an income and were able to fund the constitutional challenges. But never before did we have an entire country come together and get behind funding a constitutional challenge started by a medical patient who otherwise couldn't afford to do any of it. You know, Mr. Conroy threw a Hail Mary on me and threw a Hail Mary on the coalition, and probably thought it was an easy 10 grand because I came to him with 7. So, you know, I was pretty set forward in what we wanted to do. That's important. But when you guys understand the full nature in those that do, it's great. But I think that the more we share the importance of what took place, the more that we can potentially, again, when that right new leader, not me, when that new leader comes and that next person steps up and says, I'm going to take the charge, they're going to be able to then use the coalition as a footprint as to how to make a public interest case, how to make it very, very public, get it all over the newspapers, make it so the whole country's watching these sick patients fight for their rights. Because then more lawyers will want to work with the patients that otherwise couldn't afford to challenge the government's, flawed and failed policies with respect to the use of cannabis for the end cannabis user. Whether that's medical or I hate to say this, as you would, some of y'all out there think it's recreational, but I'd say it's a multivitamin at the very least to everybody. We all have an ECS, an endocannabinoid system, and unless you're an alien, you have one. And by virtue of having an endocannabinoid system and the way cannabinoids work with the body, then you naturally are going to medically, your body is going to medically use cannabis as a vitamin. It's going to feed your endocannabinoid system. So you may call it recreational use, but at the same time, you're giving yourself medical benefits. So you can call it what you want, recreational medical benefits. I don't know, kind of silly. I think we should just recognize that it's a medical plant that has recreational benefits as well. So I don't know how else to word that, but I think it's important to understand the full nature of how the plant works.
National trip and your ex of 6 years, we're talking like over half a decade.
Not sure how that happened. Now that's where you wonder about hackers, because this computer was closed. I just pulled the HDMI out, but that was trippy. Even you're correct. What comes next is, this is where, again, I had a good conversation with the vice president of the coalition and spent about an hour on the phone with him. While in Ontario, I've spoken with the team leader of the coalition. I've had different people that are in positions, and former national reps, and people that are interested in becoming national reps. But when it comes to what comes next, what do we do next? That is it's a very good question. It's a very reasonable question, because the game of chess and checkers, we're not playing chess. We are 100% since Parker, since we won in Parker, we've been playing hardcore chess with the government. The legal arm, or the judicial arm of the government, has been fighting with the political arm. They've been kicking their ass, actually. 16 constitutional challenges. Almost probably $10 million fighting for what we now have, the ACMPR, for that set of regulations. That's constant policy reform since, again, 2001, since Parker got the MMAR enforced and brought in. So 16 constitutional challenges later, here we are. We got Allard, we got the ACMPR, we've got legalization, we've got the right to grow. And not a right, but we have a regulatory option to grow. That has not changed. None of it's going to change. The government, when they make their next move, and I believe they will, I was talking with John about this, because why would they Section 56 an injunction if they did do this? I've been asking for people to fact check this for me, because I still don't know if it's true. But if they did, for whatever reason, Section 56 the injunction, then there's a lot to be said. That means that 28,000 people protected under that injunction are going to be able to grow for the rest of their maternal lives, provided that they're living at that same residence and that they don't move. They're going to be protected under that federal injunction. And I believe that would also open it up for a future attack on the ACMPR and in future home growing. So of course, that's the paranoia in us activists. But right now, to answer your question, Iman, going back to the chessboard, it's their move. We just kicked their ass. Our lawyers just collected their checks. Our lawyers have been paid up. Our lawyers are ready to fight again. The coalition's ready to raise our banners and say, let's charge. And we're ready to start raising funds again. And our lawyers are ready to open trust accounts again. And our gang of lawyers are ready to fight again. But we need a fight that's attainable. When I hired John Conway, it's because we knew there was a fight that was attainable. There was a constitutional challenge that was reasonable, that we knew the federal government could not prove stats that they were suggesting, the fire, the mold, the organized crime, that they could not prove this. And that's what we were betting on, and that's what happened in court. Even more to our, we thought they'd be able to show a small fraction, and we were just going to use the standard scale of statistics. Yeah, there's always going to be a fraction. Like I said on the news, how many people are driving up and down their car. We police the drunk drivers. We don't pull all the cars off the road. So we do the same thing with the bad growers. You police the bad growers. You don't throw all the growers off the road. And that's just the way that we approached it. But what can we do next? I mean, some people thought the dispensary fight would be next. I said, okay. I'm still saying okay. Where is it? Please, anybody. I'm still here. 5 years it's been. I've been saying there's going to be no right to dispense. You think you have a right, you don't. There's no right to sell cannabis in this country. Nobody has it but the LPs. Now, you might be able to get a license, you might be able to get a dispensary under the new legalization model, under the new dispensary model, because they have to put these dispensaries in place because of Allard. Going back to Allard, going back to the medical patients, paving the driveway, not only for plants, but also for dispensaries. Now, unfortunately, the legal supply is what it comes down to. Now, let's hope that Mr. Tusaw can make another good argument. Mr. Tusaw is on top of trying to, and I'm following from a distance. I'm certainly not working on the case or engaged in what Mr. Tusaw is doing with respect to looking at an angle for craft cannabis. But when I say an angle, I'm saying not a defense. I'm not saying, hey, it was a community service and licensed producers can't provide reasonable access. That's a defense. That's to help you get less time. But that doesn't change the policy, and that doesn't allow your dispensary to stay open ongoing. As many of our brothers and sisters have learned, who've been raided multiple times, traditionally we would just reopen the next day. I told you guys there's a motherfucking war going on in this country. A motherfucking war. People's kids, families, houses, cars, everything's been fucked up. That's a $7 billion industry moving into Canada. These are big corporations, powerful people, and my God, even patients are attacking patients now. Like, that's how bad it's gotten. It's an ugly, ugly place. Does charter doesn't apply to corps? Well, this is the thing, that these corporations are $20 million corporations. I would point to names like Galen Wesson, who owns Shoppers Drug Mart and various other places, Loblaws. I would point to some of the more powerful stock mining companies and private stock holding companies that own these goddamn so-called corporations, because they're not even a corporation. See, I have a corporation. We all have corporations. But we are not $20 million corporations. We are not on the stock exchange. And we are not serving other countries like Australia. That's the real mafia. That's the real criminals. That's the real crime and the real catastrophe for Canada. That's the real problem. Now, the dispensaries are going to be forced to sell the legal supply. The legal supply is the licensed producers. As April Fool's 2014, I told you all that. My friends who've been raided and went to jail. Now, I went and visited Mark when Mark was in jail, way back when they raided for the BC3. I mean, my God, I'm tired of visiting friends. Now, y'all that are going to jail because you continue running your dispensaries, I ain't coming to visit you in jail. You know, this is just getting silly. You know, we need to find out an approach, an attack, a mode that's going to stop our brothers and sisters from going to jail at the very least. Now, the good thing is, I'm not going to be Debbie Downer. The good thing is, when this gets to trial, 90% of these cases are being dropped. Most of them don't even get to trial. They get to the first preliminary hearing and the charges get dropped. And the people don't talk about it. They're told to be quiet. So fucking everybody goes home. But they shut the voice down of the cannabis culture, and the new infrastructure gets built. The new licensed producer infrastructure gets put in place. And ultimately, supply and distribution gets set up all around us. It's been happening for 5 years. I've been talking about it. Nobody really wanted to listen to the guy with his hat on, because everybody was going to run a dispensary and make $1 million. Y'all fucking, but just like in the beginning when y'all thought you were going to be licensed producers, you know how many of my friends I stopped from trying to become licensed producers? Because they had the money to do it. But I knew that there wasn't a chance. There was only going to be 51. Shit, there's only 30-something now, because they fucked up so bad in R.V. Smith and Allard that they don't have nothing left. They're not even on par with their own business plan. Look at the Rios report. That's their backgrounder. That's their backgrounder for their goddamn MMPR program. They were set to have only 51. I used to call them the fancy 50, you know, licensed producers, after their first 4 years of the program. The program's been in place now for 14, 15, 16. It's been in place now 3 years. So by the end of next year, they should have 50 in place. And believe me, the government doesn't stray off their business plan too much. So 1,000 people applied, and only 30 people have licenses. How many people got fucked? 900. I suck at math. 970 people got screwed over. And you think it's going to be any different now for dispensaries? Man, I don't know how to stop this. I don't know how to stop the bleeding. Yeah, 32. That'd be right about right, Iman. They're supposed to have 51. And now they're saying they're going to expand that to be more. So let's just say maximum 100 licensed producers. The dispensaries at least are going to be governed by the province. My friend just got one of his permits. I'm very happy to see that he's got a permit, and he's got that from the city of Vancouver. So now what's going to happen is the city of Vancouver is ultra vires. We've talked about this on the show. They are fucking 100% illegal in overreaching their constitutional boundaries for what they can and can't police. They can't police the CDSA. They can't policy the CDSA. Now they've said, oh, we're just policying a business. Bullshit. You tried to cash grab off a bunch of people, and you did. A bunch of our people that thought they were going to become dispensaries, they all bought into it. They bought the applications. They spent the money on the lawyers, and then they fucking lost their fucking business. All because of this sham and the scam of this so-called licensing scheme, you know. And ultimately, it was ultra vires, as the lawyers said. But does that stop them? No. Because now it's going to drop to the province. When the province gets to full scale, why everybody says, well, why is Ontario looking into this? Why is BC? Guys, it drops to the province in July next year. Even now, the medical aspect of dispensing could drop to the provinces right now. This is what we need to understand. Like these licensed producers, this is why they stole the intellectual property of cannabis culture. They stole the intellectual property of many different people and got them to set up infrastructure all around, and thousands of people ran to all these new locations, and all those new locations are now LP locations. Good job, LPs. Good job. And they've managed to also divide the culture, separate, do a lot of damage to the culture. Yeah, it might be 52, Iman. It might be 51 or 52. Guys always called them the fancy 50, but in that RIAS report. And I think people, this is the thing, nobody stops and reads the goddamn RIAS report. Nobody stops and reads a 3,000-page federal document because nobody gives a shit to actually take the time to stop cleaning their bong and actually read a document to defend yourself. And then you want to attack, some of you want to attack the people that do their homework. Christine, you're right. This is what I mean by the cash grab of Vancouver. The city of Vancouver should be sick, and we should be sickened by their actions. The fact that they were able to come in here and monopolize. All of my brothers and sisters, I know a lot of good people, good dispensing people who now have charges. They're facing, they can never have a grow license. You know, I don't know what's going to happen with them in the future. And it's because they thought that they were going to be part of this licensing scheme. And they're slowly been phased out. Shut down, injunction by the city, fined by the city. That's how they're approaching it. And ultimately, the city had no power to do it in the first place. They were ultra vires. Look up that word. They were ultra vires. It is illegal, overreaching constitutional powers of the municipality. They did not have the authority to override the federal government's CDSA. But was it enough to stop them? No, and it's why the coalition didn't pick up another $1 million trial. And for all the y'all fucking keyboard warriors out there that say, oh, well, I'd fucking pick it up. Well, fucking pick it up. There ain't nothing stopping any of you guys from doing what the fuck we did. You want to fucking be a soldier? Be a soldier. Build your fucking army and build a fucking lawyer, make your fucking revenue, and change a policy. That's all we can do. But guys, stop hating on the people that actually are fighting for the change, because there's fewer and fewer people out there fighting for change. And I feel that that's unfortunate for Canada, because for me, I fought for my garden. I fought for liberty, and I fought for what I thought was right. Like Mr. Conroy says in the documentary, the government was coming from a bad place, and we were coming from a good place. That's where the coalition was. That's who we are. That's what we stood for. That's what we'll always be. Coming from the place that's right. So back to Iman and what comes next, it'll be whatever's right. That's what'll come next. And I will not be the president of the coalition at that time. I can assure everybody who's watching that I have stepped back. I am acting right now as remaining the lead on the coalition until we have somebody that is going to lead that charge. You know, so believe me, there is a lot of stuff going on, and the reason I say that is because of what it takes out of a person. Those of you out there forget that I may not look sick, but I'm 24 years with HIV. I have a compromised immune system, and I fight every single day to try to just get through the day. So it's time for me to stop and say, I'm not going to kill myself for another 5 years for free, and then get accused of flying around as if I'm living some fucking luxury lifestyle, you know, for fighting for all yo. Like, that's just the truth. I see people bashing my name, slandering my family name, slandering my wife's name, slandering fucking my friend's name, you know, slandering them online, and not nobody coming up and saying, do you got any evidence? Why the fuck are you talking shit? And then you guys wonder why nobody's fighting for you. Talk to the shit talkers and ask them to fucking raise an army for you, you know, because this is where people know when to step back, and if there was a fight, believe me, I'm not stepping back for any other reason than there isn't a fight, and I'm also tired. For me, but when I say stepping back, that means just remaining a director on the board. It doesn't. It may mean remaining president and putting somebody else in charge of operations. We don't know. We don't know how this is going to work. Personally, I wanted to close up the coalition, and you guys need to decide what you want. You guys need to decide what is needed. To me, there was a time and a place that a coalition was needed to raise funds to fight the government. We had a sword, which was John Conroy. We had a fundraising machine, which was me, and Green Planet Nutrients that helped fly me around the country and get me funded, you know, and allow me to be able to do what I've done. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here. And the many soldiers that stood beside me and never wavered in the light of all the bullshit. They never wavered. They stayed focused, they stayed on what they were doing, and people come and left the coalition here nor there. It was a successful mission. Remember, we weren't the defendant. Jason Wilcox wasn't the defendant in Allard. Canada was the defendant because we charged Canada. They didn't charge us. Another reason that makes it historic. Yes, the licenses in the city were 5,000 to 30,000, which the city collected, knowing damn well that these people would never be able to legally, you know, have these dispensaries. The one good thing that I can say for the city is the city is now working with the province, because my friend that just got his permit already has been told by the province how it's going to work. So I'm not going to speak too much to that because it's insider information that I probably shouldn't be saying on the internet. So there's that going on, but am I tired of seeing the scams? I'm sickened by the scams. I'm sickened by the continued, I guess I'm sickened by the continued confusion and disarray. There's a lot of people that, damn, that angle looks like shit. All right, there's a lot of people that remain, for whatever reason, I'm going to switch this angle back to here. There's a lot of people that, for whatever reason, seem to be just okay with where things are at. And you know what? Maybe that's where we need to be, is that things are just okay. And if things are just okay, that's where it needs to be. Then that's where we need to just accept that maybe things are just okay. That legalization is just going to play out this way, and we're all just going to take it this way. Because we got the home growing, and some people, and I've heard this, and it's likely true, a lot of people aren't going to mind, I guess, going and spending $10, just like cigarette smokers aren't going to mind going and spending $10 a pack, you know, for these $10 a gram for this cannabis from licensed producers. That's substandard. And even if it was standard, it's still a lot that's outside the range. But being able to grow our own is what we fought for. So again, it goes back to what comes next. Now, I would say what we're already doing, to me, is what needs to come next. What our leadership is already doing and what we've been quietly doing. We lowered our fundraising banners last November. We stopped fundraising. So we've actually had we don't do any fundraising. We shut everything down with the coalition, closed up our stuff with the lawyers, and kind of left it at that. So when it comes to, fuck, I just lost track of what I was even saying there. Well, when it comes to, oh yeah, moving forward. When it comes to moving forward with any sort of, will the government by the city to make their own rules? It will be governed by the city to make their own rules. Hey, Thomas, yes, no, it'll be governed by the province. You're right, the municipalities, to the extent that the province will work with municipalities in giving certain, working with municipalities in giving their permits. But again, it comes down to the province and not to the city or not to the municipalities alone. This is the important part, that constitutional powers we need to understand. And what I'm talking about, the city being ultra-virus, is when they did this monopoly that they were going to give all these permits here in Vancouver to all these people. And I have to say there was only going to be maybe 20 permits given, and that's about what's been given. But anyway, that was when they were ultra-virus. They were completely unconstitutional in trying to do this, and it disrupted the cannabis culture here, and it got rid of the old so they could bring in the new. And now under the new guidelines, yes, the ACMPR and those dispensaries willing to sell a licensed producer cannabis will be governed by the province and by extension the municipalities, and the municipalities will be giving out those permits, and it'll be X number of permits. I would also note to people that unless you have lobbyist friends, I suggest you get close with your city council and you start doing that. These are things to look at. Again, this is moving forward, looking at constitutional powers moving forward. Legalization, as of July 8th, the federal government legalizes, it drops to the province and of course, by extension, the municipalities. But the municipalities alone cannot govern. That's something that they're not able to do. They're not able to, by themselves, decide that they're going to have 50 dispensaries in the city of Vernon, and that they're only going to have 2 dispensaries in the city of fucking Kelowna. It's just not going to work that way. The province will say each city will be governed to have X amount of dispensaries in this city, this city, this city, and the municipalities will be the ones who issue the permits and who bid for what they think is a fair number of things. And I don't know, again, I'm not, just for the record, please understand that I'm not pretending to know this. And Thomas, you may, I haven't seen your name in here before, so you may know a lot more than me, my friend. And I'm not trying to sound arrogant or facetious in any way. I don't know, and I'm not going to pretend to know 100% of what I'm not supposed to know. I'm an activist and advocate. So when the federal government is making their moves, we only report on their moves as they make them. And with the city council right now, the one thing we did know, again, from the lawyers, was the issue of ultra-virus, was the issue of having the power to override the CDSA. Not forward thinking to next year, but let's go backwards. Remember that to overreach the CDSA is a federal governing power. Even the province can't overreach the CDSA. It's a federal statute. So this is what I was talking about. Now they're looking at extending, Christine, on that note, they're looking at extending the bylaws to allow an extra, I think in Victoria, an extra 50 feet or something. And I believe that comes down to, because we know here in Vancouver it's very hard to find rent, and I believe that a lot of licensed producers that are trying to set up infrastructure now, or a lot of the, I wouldn't say licensed producers, because now there's an opportunity for middle people to come in and bid for these licenses. I don't know what it's going to cost under the province to get a license. I don't know what kind of licensing scheme they're going to come up with, but at least it allows our brothers and sisters to get into the marijuana game, but they're going to have to sell the legal supply. I've said this on my show for 4 years. I'm going to keep saying it until someone proves me wrong, okay? Because logic dictates reason, and as of April Fool's 2014, these 31 companies that are standing have the right to sell domestically and import and export internationally, end quote. Nobody else in Canada can do it. Hey, Kevin and Brandy, C-Dot, what's up, guys? Man, I wish we had a chance to hang out more when we were there. Shit. Next time I'm down, I seen those brownies coming out of the oven, man. I'd fucking love to try those. I was spoiled with brownies in Ontario. Man, I miss all the edibles. I've got a whole bunch of the Cereal Bakers candy I packed back with me here. I should actually break that out after the next commercial. But that Cereal Baker candy is awesome. I'm just going to read this question here, because we have a new person in the chat who I haven't seen in here before, who's Thomas Martin. Seems to be pretty informed as to what's going on here, so it's important that we always say thank you to the people helping to share information in the chat, guys. Right on. No, okay, there you go, Thomas. But again, now Trudeau's stating that it's in the individual municipalities to enforce the rules. But what Mr. Trudeau is not saying is how the provincial government ultimately is going. And again, I shouldn't actually try to even speak to this until I know. Based on what I can only say, based on what my friend who does have a license, Corona Health Foundation has been given a full permit with the City of Vancouver, and by extension the City of Vancouver has come to this owner and told them that yes, we're not in power to really do this. The provincial government is the one that's going to sanction this permit. But you're in line. Because of the city's agreement and stuff that's already in place, they're going to be catapulted into the new system. But does that mean that licensed producer cannabis is going to need to be sold there one day? It is highly probable. Again, this is something where it's not being enforced right now, but with a strike of the pen, and I want you guys to understand the power of the pen. With a strike of the pen, they'll just go around with a strike of the pen, city council, they'll go around every dispensary and say, you can no longer sell craft cannabis or anything else. You can only sell this legal supply because it's federal law. And if you don't, you have to shut down. Now, after you invest $30,000 to $200,000 to $500,000 into your dispensary, you tell me, will you shut down or will you sell that legal supply? And I don't blame anybody that sells illegal supply because I get it. I understand it. You know, it's business. I just feel it's unfortunate for the patients of Canada, and this is where co-ops and collectives need to start to happen. Small co-ops where we can, the Co-op Act was designed to get around the federal regulations so that you can self-govern within reason. You know, you can't become millionaires, but you can self-govern. There's a co-op gas station that goes all across Canada. That's built under the Co-op Act. Yeah, that's why people get dividends. It's very much how we could look to dance around the present regulations. The coalition looked at co-oping, and we still are. You know, if we decide to co-op out, then we could then look at how that's going to work, and we would then be able to bring our membership into a national co-op that would be able to have multiple distribution locations, multiple grow locations, and they would be governed by our own people under the Self-Governing Act. With the right lawyers and with the right backers, I think it's possible. In the meantime, we got home growing. We've got legalization on the horizon with a 30-gram share limit. I think that that's very important for people to understand, because we're all going to get to grow. We all get, hi Robin, because we get to grow, every person that gets to grow is now going to, fuck, another distraction. Damn it. Every person that's now going to be able to grow, and I wasn't even sure where I was going with that because it was important. As of next year, it's going to change the dynamics a lot. Oh, sorry, for the share limit, the craft cannabis share limit. That share limit is important. 30 grams, read the proposal. If the Senate doesn't kill that, I just need you to understand, I'm an old school, I'm from the street, okay? This is just me, that's my background. That's kind of why I'm rough around the edges sometimes. But straight goods, you know, straight goods. That share limit means that you can walk up, give someone an ounce, walk away, and they can wire transfer you the money later. You connect the dots. That's all you can say. The government's opening up a way that craft cannabis can still exist, and you're not going to be forced into this LP market. I believe that if 94 years of prohibition did not stop us, locking us up, chaining us up, taking our properties, taking our cars, raiding us with big, huge raid camps, these big fucking, like they recently did in Kelowna with the tanks, you know, running tanks into people's homes. Yeah, shit. Yes, and they are looking to cap the THC percentages, and this is another fight, guys. When I talk, oh my God, good point, Sean. I'm glad you guys are on top of this because I'm trying. But man, you want to cap THC? I can tell you, in my trip to Australia, my brothers and sisters in Australia that flew me over there, it was so good. To have industry, because there's two bubbles. There's the marijuana bubble that all the big corporate industry guys want to get into. They wear their suits or Giorgio Armani's and they all want to fucking, they're stockbrokers. There's that bubble. But then there's the hydroponic industry bubble. And any country that's allowed to grow, that's an investment. Now that Canada can grow, I can guarantee you that the stocks in Gorilla Tent and the stocks and other companies that are on the stock market are going to go up just like they will in the marijuana stocks. More and more people are going to choose to grow for themselves because it's smarter, cheaper, and more efficient. And there is a therapeutic value to growing, whether you're medical or non-medical. There's a therapeutic value. And these new laws are going to make us smarter in the sense that, look how far we've come. We have fought, like I spoke with Mr. Conroy, he said he's not stopping because it's still a drug war. Drug war is not over. It just means the war on cannabis is going to be over. That's a start. The drug war is still the drug war, so we still have a lot to do with social justice. If the government tries to come out with this 100 centimeter rule, then I'm going to start teaching low stress training. I'll teach you guys how to pull a pound off a plant that is no more than 4 inches from the soil. That's not a problem because there's no lateral restrictions. I'm sure they'll come and they'll amend that soon enough, but until then, you'll learn how to match your plants and learn how to laterally train and be able to pull a little more. Is it fair? No. Am I trying to help people keep from getting tickets and getting their plants cut down for being too high? Absolutely. I believe that if the government, or not the government, if the police should choose to ever charge somebody or try to charge somebody for growing over 100 centimeters, then that's the opportunity to challenge that and the opportunity to overturn laws. 16 of the constitutional challenges that happened before were because people got charged. When they came out with the Hitler solution to destroy all gardens in Canada and ban home growing, that's when I put Canada on trial and made them the defendant. And Mr. Conroy and our whole gang of attorneys and all the coalition members, just short of 10,000. Yeah, Scrog at 100 centimeters. You know, this is it. And again, this is for guys under recreational. What I see is a bunch of converts. I've said this before, guys. You don't need to be sick to get an ACMPR permit. So if you're bitching and complaining about the 100 centimeter rule, it hasn't been enforced on medical patients. We're not being told that we have a restriction of 100 centimeters. It would impact our it would impact 100. It'd open up a wide constitutional challenge. Yeah, no, this is true, Thomas, and this is going on all over, and something that I would actually want to start doing myself if I could. And this were the co-ops, where if you are big property owners and you want to get in on this business, then you get in with somebody, you start a co-op, and then you make your entire apartment building, you know, individual suites that are able to be rented out, and you get them outfitted professionally so that the entire building is nothing but grow-ops. And people are able to rent them. You have to go through downstairs security in order to get upstairs to your grow up. But each individual, what would normally be an apartment, is an actual grow room with a kitchen and everything else that you can like your normal crew could have, and that's your grow room. You know, and security would be in the halls and be in everything else. That would allow, you know, an entire apartment building to be a legal grow room. You know, now the government would say you can only have so many licenses on one spot. I would say that the Governing Co-op Act would suggest that you could have more because it steps outside the regulatory framework. I'm not a lawyer, though. Oh, running out of breath. All right, let me see what I can find here to play. Went a lot longer tonight than I expected, but so when I was in Ontario, I had a chance to go on the Extract Express. This is some old footage here that we have from there. I'm also going to see if I can find my find a grow video of some sort. Here's a rosin video. Well, actually, here's a good one. Here's, you know what? Since we're talking about civil disobedience tonight, right time, right place, right way to do it, guys. The police came before I ever started the coalition. I hired John Conroy to sue the police after this incident. As you see, I've recorded this incident. I cover the police faces for a reason. This is when the police came and cut my plants down. It was nice seeing you too, Kevin and Brandy. It really was. I wish we had more time to actually hang out and get to know each other. And Vicky was feeling the same way. We were so busy. But with this next video I'm about to play, this is when the police came. Now, after John and I sued them because they cut down my plants, remember I approached the Abbotsford Police Board. This is back in 2010, before there was a coalition. I approached the Abbotsford Police Board, was going to open a dispensary. They decided to invade my house, cut my plants down. I brought their officer back, recorded him, got him to admit that he and his officers cut my plants down in both my rooms and that I was a medical patient. Took that footage to John Conroy. We sued the city of Abbotsford. When you sue the police, you have to sue the city. We sued the city of Abbotsford. We won, you know, our money out of court. And there was no gag order, so that's why I can still play these videos online and why they're still up there for people to review. I refused to just take a settlement. I wanted people to understand that these police RIP teams and abuses against patients who grow needs to stop. And what happened as a result of Mr. Conroy and I suing them is what you're going to see in this video that I'm about to play. Because in this video is where you see this is what a green team looks like. Y'all have heard about green teams. Y'all heard about the police in the city and showing up in force on a nice sunny day. This will give you an example of what it's like to have them show up. And it's not fun, but understanding the threshold of the doorway, understanding that you never want to step outside that threshold of the doorway, it's your safety. You never want to let the police step inside the threshold of the doorway. And if they're going to, then you make sure you're inside with your camera pointed at them the whole time for your own safety. Because I can tell you now that if you let them in the door, you're giving them a warrantless search. And that means that officers will often say, can I step out of the rain? Or do you mind if I step in for a minute? And as soon as you let them step in because you think you're being nice, they could actually throw you on the ground and fucking cuff you and go search your entire house. Every closet, every fucking under your bed, they can look everywhere and cite that it was for officer safety. I kid you not, those of you in the game know what I'm talking about. Those of you not just getting in the game or just learning, I need you to know about. Because they don't play. It's real. Anyway, here's the real in 2010 when I was still doing what I'm doing now, fighting the man.
Okay, I'm recording.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on, I don't hear that for a second. I don't think that's necessary. And you got the top one up top, yeah. And the second one here and here.
Yeah, I'm gonna film it. There's 4 of them. Yeah,
just let me talk to
yeah,
him here.
there's 5 of them.
I gotta find out who their supervisor is. You guys got a supervisor that wants to do the talking?
Wilcox. Mr. Wilcox. These gentlemen coming up here are the inspection team.
Yes.
And they would like to do the inspection, but before they do that, they ask us to come in and make sure everything is safe for them. There's nobody hiding in closets or anything like that.
Exactly, and I believe that this case has been settled in Ontario, that the police can no longer come in for home inspections.
No. Oh, we can to come in and assist them if you allow us to.
I'm not allowed. That's what I'm saying. When it comes to allowing permission.
Come and talk to these gentlemen.
I mean, I don't have a problem standing here with you, or if you guys want to stand even right here. I mean, at the doorway. I mean, I've contacted legal counsel. That's
yes,
why.
we have.
It's nothing against you guys personally. Legal counsel said if they show up there with 3 cop cars, then no, you don't have to let them through your door.
No.
So we can phone Health Canada too.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, Dwayne, do you want to explain what your
So yesterday you were okay with 2 officers coming in the house?
One.
No, I listened to 2, but I see 6.
No,
and
it's only 4 of us.
4, but I see. Sorry, I'm looking at 3 cop cars as well. What bothered me is the gentleman I spoke to. I think was it you that was standing there yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, it was yourself.
Yeah.
And I did say, I'm feeling bad because, I don't want to seem like the bad guy here, but at the same time, you guys are showing up in force. My neighbors right now, God knows what they think, and I have nothing to hide. When all's said and done, I'm hoping that, we can all get along, but, this has been, how many times have you guys been to my house and in my basement?
Well, this is the first time I'm in the public.
And what is your reason for needing to come in the house for safety, aside from needing to protect them?
Making sure everything is to code.
You're police officers.
No, this is by law enforcement.
Okay, so you're coming in to do that. I'm saying, why do you need him?
They're part of our team. They come for our safety.
We only come in for their safety.
So again, against my request to not have them come in for your safety, you're going to go ahead and tell me that I have to allow these officers into my house without a warrant? Because it amounts to a warrantless search.
I'm not going to tell you anything.
I mean, it amounts to a warrantless search. That's what it does.
Yes.
And you're asking me to let officers into the house that are then going to want to do a plant count and everything else for no reason.
No.
Unless we can agree that there's going to be some sort of, not 6 or 7 of you coming in, but rather that your team...
This is the process. One of us would stay out here with you and all the other occupants. 3 of us would go through the house, make sure there's nobody hiding or any weapons.
Yeah, no. You don't search for weapons. You guys can get a warrant if you want to search for weapons.
Let me finish.
No, you won't be searching my house.
Okay, let me finish explaining the process. 3 of us go through, we make sure that there's nobody hiding in here. We come out, then the inspection team goes in while we stay outside.
There ain't nobody hiding in here. There ain't nothing for you to have any probable cause to believe that.
I didn't say we did.
Well,
we're
then
coming here to assist them. And they want us
And
to
I'm
do
saying
it.
that my understanding is that there's a legal case that you guys are
That's
not
fine.
allowed in. So I'm saying that
No.
if they would like to come in and if they would like to go down and do their jobs, they're welcome
with
to.
them.
I'll stand at the door with you so you know you're safe and that they're safe because I'm with you.
Well, we don't know that
And we
because
don't have to
know if
worry.
there's anybody else in
They'll
the house.
bring you
That's what
down.
that's why they ask us
Has
to
there
come.
been any threat to you guys? And you guys have been to my house 5 times.
Yeah.
And there's
Never
never
been
been a threat to your officers.
No.
Okay,
So-
Jason,
Calls yours.
what we'll do is we'll just get an entry warrant.
That's
Okay, I mean, it could just be so much easier just to let things roll. So we're not here to stop you from what you want to do, just to make sure the electrical and everything's to code.
I just don't understand why all the officers, guys.
This is part of our team, Jason. Okay, it's nothing to do with you. This is
Okay,
a
am I going to
We
get
go
this
to
every year,
places-
guys? Well, I mean, I don't mind. Once this is done, am I going to get this crap every year?
yeah.
Probably not, but this is the first time our section's been involved.
Oh,
We've had
there
police
we go.
issues, but it's never been the public safety team. Okay?
Public safety team.
Yeah.
Warrant.
Okay, so
Different
the,
cities called the electrical safety
the searching
team.
for my house,
We're not
you're
doing
telling me
a
you're
search,
going to
Jason.
get... No, you just told me you want
Yeah.
to search for people in my home.
Yes.
And
Well,
that's my
yeah.
problem that I have. I don't want you
Jason,
going through my
we're
closets.
gonna leave, okay? We'll just get the entry warrant. We'll do things the proper way. That's the way you prefer.
No, I'm asking you why it is that your team can't just go in, why you need to get a warrant.
It's city policy. We don't need to get a warrant. You're not allowing us to follow
Because he
city
wants
policy.
to search that. He wants to search my house. That's what he just said to me.
It's been
Yesterday I
recorded.
told you I'd take 2 officers and walk down there, but he's saying he wants to search every house in my room. It's like, to get downstairs, we walk straight down. What the hell is the side bedrooms or anything
Yeah,
else have
what's
to
that
do with
got
anything?
The police have ways they follow. They do things too. So it's, obviously you can't accept the way we want to do things. We'll just.
Well, we got it all on camera, so come on in. Let's go. Bring your guys in. Let's film you guys doing what you're doing. We'll just see what my lawyers have to say after that, and it'll be a lot easier.
Well, we come in, but you guys stay outside.
No.
No, you guys aren't gonna search my
No
house.
fucking way.
That's how we do it. If you don't want that, that's fine.
No.
Okay. Thanks for your time, Jason.
Thank you. I'll show that to my lawyer. Thanks, guys.
Okay, I'm recording.
To stand up and say, you know what, this is wrong and we need to make a change. And by the grace of God, we've made changes, and this is the legislation now proposed for my country, and I would love to see this come to I would love to see this come to Australia. I would love to see it come to Ireland, where they've got a medical program coming out. And I would also note that as I stand here before you guys, I'm not naive to the people in the room. I'm not naive to the licensed producers that are in this country, setting up the same corporations that are setting up in my country. And that's what needs to be in a free and fair market. We can't say in a free and fair market that there only needs to be these small compassion clubs, but there can't be a corporation. There has to be, in my country, we have the corner store called 7-Eleven. So I say you got to have this corporate 7-Eleven corner store, but you also got to have the average corner store that anybody can own. And that's a free and fair market. Now in my country, right now they have it set up so that only up to 56 companies are going to be allowed to sell cannabis domestically, import it or export it, and they're the ones supplying you right now. That's the difference, unless you're supplying yourself through personal growing. And that goes back to where I say in a free and fair market, there has to be licensed producers. We have to understand that. That's part of a free and fair market. But to have reasonable access, which is a part that's missing in most of the world, and we've now implemented in Canada, is access to that plant and all of its many forms of applications. I'd like to thank everybody for allowing me to speak here today, and if there's any, thank you. If there's any questions from the crowd, I did have a video here I wanted to play to show you guys, but I don't think the audio is going to come through if I try to play it, so. Yeah, well, I just killed it anyway. Okay. So yeah, there was a video there that I was going to try to play at the end, which just shows the past and present, but you guys can check that out online. It really sets, oh, there it is. Maybe the tech guys are this, there.
The Canadian government's getting out of the...
Okay, we're back. Alrighty, so there's a little bit of history, guys. I don't even know why I'm doing like a marathon show tonight. I've got my new coffee and I've dabbed up. Yeah, I'm smoking on the shit from, I think camera doesn't do it justice. But that's an example, guys. Going back to the old school, going back to really where it began for me, activism. I've been doing this a long time. People can hate. Usually people, again, they hate on success. People can hate, they can do what they want. But to me, time tells truths. And the power's in the video, the power's in the truth, and the power's in time. As you see there, nothing has changed. Police officers still to this day come to your door, and I'm sure some of you have experienced it, where they'll offer to step inside the house like that. Now what you've seen there was an example of a green team showing up with, you know, 4 police officers, 2 police vehicles, 3 city vehicles, and about 6 city engineers. Now, how do I let them in my door? Just so you guys understand the serious nature of this. How do I let them in my door? What happens next when you let a city green team in your house is if you let them through your inspection, even if you pass, your landlord gets the bill. And it's usually around $6,000 to $12,000, which leads to you getting evicted. So they double down when they do a home inspection. That's why don't let them in unless it's Health Canada. Don't let city inspectors in unless it's solely city inspectors with a probable cause to come in, and know your rights around it. No matter what, if a city green team, remember it's a municipal green team. It's by law enforcement. Not police, not criminal law enforcement, by law. Guys, I'm sorry if I'm sounding fucking arrogant, but my God, by law enforcement cannot use police. Police need a motherfucking warrant to come in your house. They can't just randomly walk in and fucking look around. This is not going to be America, not while I'm alive. I'm not going to continue to allow fucking patients to think that you don't have rights and you can't stand down the police. Many of us activists, a good friend of mine, Johnny B, has taught you recently with driving, same thing. Know your rights, use your camera, protect yourselves, and watch the activists that are actually doing it. Not the ones that are keyboard warriors talking shit but never actually putting any action into their activism. The word act is in activism. Suit up, show up, do your work. I think that's the best I can say. That's one of the most important parts of anything that we do. You know, suiting up, showing up, making sure that you're at the events, making sure that you're staying informed. And again, right now, collectives are so important. My God, in each province, because I don't think any national, even if the coalition pulls itself back together, I don't think that you know, one, we would need a good fight ahead of us, and 2, we would then have to look at each province, because each province is going to have its own rules and regulations, and I think each province is going to need its own co-op, and even smaller co-ops will need to be able to branch off, and nonprofits that will be able to branch off, because the government will not be able to restrict this plant if the people say no. If the people say, no, we're not going to take this, we can either fight them in the judicial arm where applicable, or we fight their lobbyists with people power. And that's building bridges like Justin Loiseau's just did in Ontario, taking a bus from one city to another and uniting those patients, uniting those end users, uniting those cannabis warriors and those recreational people. Whoever it is, they're bringing them together. It's about building bridges, because the stronger we get, if we can go from being a 10,000 member coalition to being a 100,000 member coalition, imagine the power in that. Then the money from these big lobbyists doesn't mean nothing, because those politicians, those politicians look at us as their constituents. So if there's 100,000 of us, they're going to get awful fucking nervous. They were pretty nervous when there was just 10,000 patients, because behind every patient there's at least 5 or 10 other people, because we are medical patients. And we often have strong supporting doctors, and we often have strong supporting lawyers, because we have ethics and law on our side. Like Mr. Conroy said, and I'll keep saying this, the government was coming from a bad place. We were coming from a good place. And that's where we want to keep coming from. As much as people want to say, this was bad, that was bad, I beg to say, where's your proof? Yeah, well, Ontario, guys, in Ontario, there's a lot, and again, this is where just so you understand the structure of the coalition, there's a board of directors, then there's a national committee that has representatives in each respective province, and at least that's how we operated for our 5 years, and that's really how we built it up. So when the time comes to raise our banners again, if that's needed, and when the time comes to pull the organization together, for the purpose it really started, it got incorporated was because we've seen the need for medical patients to have an ongoing resource. There's no normal Canada was for recreational. It was the reform of marijuana laws. It was not, had nothing to do with us, and that's why they didn't donate to the coalition. Mr. Conroy, of course, donated a lot of his time, but other than that, they didn't donate to the coalition. But there's no medical group, Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. They've become incorporated. They're not there for medical patients. So who's there for medical patients? Nobody. The first strong, true national coalition or national representative group of the medical patients and users of medical cannabis was the coalition. Our choice in moving forward is very minimal, because the leadership knows doing what we've already done is the easy part. Rebuilding what we already know how to build is the easy part. Finding the people to fill those slots, it's like building a baseball team. We can build the Bad News Bears, or we can build, you know, the fucking, I'm not good with baseball shit. But we could build a good team, or we could build a bad team. But no matter what, we can build a team. And that's a start. And that's where national reps, a lot of the people that have gotten involved recently in the coalition and gotten a little more active, a lot of people are learning. I think this documentary, I think Mr. Conroy's own words will set a lot of things straight. And that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm in no rush to release this this footage, that's for sure. I released a little bit from Mo and Linda's the other day, just because we're fucking around with, I was showing Mo and Linda some of the raw content of Mr. Conroy. And again, this matters because, you know, sometimes I guess no matter what happens in social media, check, 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 we're back. All right, battery swap out. Thanks to Iman for the fast tip. Audio should be back now. Oh man, one of those shows. I'm doing a dab. Yeah, thanks guys. Again, I'm running this. I wish I could show you guys around. I've done this before. I don't have the small webcam in, but if you see what I'm working with here, it's a lot, and the show's been going for, again, almost 2 hours. Facebook does cut it off after 4 hours. We've done marathon shows before. I'm doing a lot of this probably because I'm missing my wife. You know, she's still in Ontario doing her stuff with her family. It's not easy because we both have kids, and mine's going off to university right now and doing a lot of different things. And my light just changed on me. My light's dying. Wow, this show is dying slowly. There goes my light. So, yeah, batteries are definitely low. That's the light down. Light down. So we'll have to turn this TV back on. I know you guys can't see me, but you can hear me. And I'm walking around doing all my different shit in this little studio because I'm actually here alone, doing my best to make this work. Ow. And I just got a dab stab. Ow, that fucking hurt. That was hot. I've been doing this, honestly, Thomas, I've been doing this for, I've been doing this for a decade now. I go back to 2007 on YouTube. And that's where a lot of my, teaching began. And now where I am at is no signal, because I just turned it on. Anyway, I'm trying to get some more backlight here from this TV. But yeah, it's kind of getting to the end of the show. It's been a long show, but an interesting discussion nonetheless. Best thing I'll put on is music and mute it, I think. But it should give some light to the back. Now that I've lost my main light, lost audio, that'll let you know a few times. But yeah, oh yeah, I got all these fucking, you guys out there looking for Beard Brothers, you guys got to pay attention for the Beard Brothers too, that are doing a lot right now. Should have put all that back down there. Didn't really show that very well. Sorry, Beard Brothers that way. It's easier to show it. So, and no, I don't watch these anime thing, guys. That was actually my daughter's stuff. That's honestly the truth. Oh, yeah. See, this is all my daughter shit. Anyway, back to dabbing. Any other questions at all, guys? I was going to talk about the Cannabis Act a bit today too, but I'm still trying to look through it, and I'm questioning, you know, where it's going to go with the Senate. Fuck this thing, it's not fucking working, dirty bastard. That's frustrating as hell. I gotta try their stuff still. Oh, Beard Brothers, you haven't tried Beard Brothers? Oh, geez. Again, one of the crews that I stand by. You know, I stand by people that stood by us during our trials and tribulations with the coalition, and Beard Brothers definitely was with us through the whole thing. And again, remember, those that supported us support those that support you. That's the best I can say. And I remember everybody in the coalition. That's why, you know, there's certain members of the coalition that we've contacted that were surprised that we reached out to them asking if they wanted to be part of the coalition, because they somehow thought we were mad at them or had some begrudged against them because they stopped working with the coalition. It's like, look at whether you served 2 months or 2 years or 5 years with the coalition, it doesn't matter. You know, it's a fact that you at one point or another supported and endorsed what's now been a historic challenge. So I'd kind of be what I'd be looking at anyway. I'm gonna switch this camera over. Let's see if this. That makes me even look darker, doesn't it? You guys can't see nothing now. Shit. All right, we're back to here. Oh. Well, here on the West Coast, well, you got to understand that part of doing this show, and it's good, is and also, you know, just part of being able to grow your own cannabis is being able to, you have friends that either make distillate, like I have friends that make distillate, you know, so it's easy to have them run my stuff. It's easy to have a shadow run, you know, if you have friends like the Beard Brothers or other friends that I don't want to get into brand names or nothing, but that help you out with different shatters. Then you can get into that. And it was really Vicky Dabbs, you know, my partner. You know, if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't have gotten into the dabbing as heavy as I did. I did it as part of promotion and doing the coalition and stuff, but I didn't get really into dabbing until Vicky was in my life because we dab everywhere. I'm sweating now just thinking about it. But we literally dab everywhere. She has her electronic dab rig in the car. We're dabbing everywhere we go. So it's one of those things that she's got me into. And then of course when distillate came out, I was very interested because it's like making moonshine. It's very much, fractional distillate is very much the same process. And that was something else Vicky and I both locked onto. And as we continue to move forward, we're still looking at all the different conversions in ways to get the maximum amount of cannabinoids into your body through edibles, and also the best ways to still, in the context of this to me is the recreational form of cannabis use. Because you don't get the full medical, you still get medical benefits, but you don't get as big a medical cannabinoid intake as you would if you took an oil or a tincture. So and the other thing too is to pay attention for the distillate, and there's a lot of different things coming out that we all need to pay attention to. This capping of THC, they would never be able to enforce this on medical patients. I think they'll be able to enforce it on corporations, and I think that's going to hurt them in the stock market, and it's going to hurt them at the end user stage. I think it's going to hurt them in the long run. I don't believe that if 94 years of reefer madness and lies under the federal government's reefer madness, if that didn't stop the cannabis culture and the land race of strains that we have, do they really think that they can cap THC and cap these land races now? If that's the next war, so be it. But I don't think that they have much of a chance at winning that war. I don't think that you can cap evolution. I don't think that you can. I don't think you can cap evolution. I don't think, when I say cap evolution, I don't think you can patent evolution. I don't think you can cap it. I don't think you can restrain it. Evolution is plant A and plant B making plant C. That's growing. That's breeding, and nobody should be able to cap that or restrict that or patent what's in essence an evolutionary thing that God gave us. So without justification, there's no way the federal government or any government in the country that is under the Commonwealth anyway is going to be able to restrict people from their autonomous medical use of the body. Their right. It's a World Health Organization right. Again, a World Health Organization right. It's not something I'm fabricating here. It's to understand that in essence, in Allard, we didn't even get to Section 1, which was reasonable access. We argued Section 7 and Section 1, but we didn't even get to Section 1 because the judge seen that the right to liberty was infringed on enough, and he threw the entire MMPR out based on Section 7 alone. That's why other Commonwealth countries are so interested in what we did here and why they're so interested in this case, because the Allard case is now going to be introduced into many other countries as to why those countries should be allowed the autonomous medical use for their respective countrymen. To be able to grow and use the cannabis plant as they see fit. And if they see fit to choose to buy from a big corporation, that's their choice. And that is a free and fair market. If they try to cap Sean, I believe they'll start a war. And I don't think that the federal government wants to continue to have wars. I think if they force the LPs to cap and then they tell people that you can grow 4 plants that are uncapped and then they got a 30-gram share limit, I think you guys can figure out the math. Just forethink a little bit. Everybody's going to be sharing and caring, and nobody's going to be ordering from licensed producers. So unless they change their business plan and start to open it up to a more free and democratic market, then this price war, which I've been talking about for about 4 years now on my show, I've talked about this impending price war. It's now started, and this is where the Project Claudia raids come in, the licensing scheme, all the stuff that we've talked about on the show tonight, all comes down to just that. It comes down to this war. And I don't like using the word war, but whenever there's casualties, it's a war. And there's not casualties of blood in vain, but there are casualties of fucking being locked up and going insane. These are real life problems. People lose their houses, their kids, their lives, their wives. They lose everything as a result of being arrested for dispensing cannabis and trying to be part of this war. Sometimes we find ourselves on the wrong side of the line. If we're going to legalize, why haven't we decriminalized? Do you guys want another fight? There's another fight. Unlock our brothers and sisters who've been locked up in the past decade, drop their charges and release them if they were cannabis related and non-violent and they didn't have guns or anything else involved. Let our brothers and sisters free. Then decriminalize pending legalization, which means nobody else gets charged. But you see, they won't do this because their lobbyists, the licensed producer lobbyists, are so powerful that they're going to allow these raids to shut down. They have to shut down these dispensaries in order to usher in the new. I know I sound like the crazy guy with my hat on backwards again, but I was that same crazy guy in 2012 with my hat on backwards telling you guys that this was going to happen, and it came to fruition. You know, this is just, it's one of those things that I wish we had more answers to. I wish that I could tell you guys that our lawyers had a way that we could fight this. I can tell you now, if you've got $10 million and you know, if you happen to know a billionaire that wants to fight the Canadian Medical Association, you might have a fight there. Mind you, the CMPA, the Canadian Medical Protective Association that insures the doctors, they're very powerful as well. So you want to fight them, you're looking at 10 million. And it's really the doctors that are screwing a lot up for Canada. There's a lot of different angles. There's Health Canada's delays in licenses and issuing licenses and targeting of activists. This is stuff that's continuing to go on. The recent questioning of patients. You know, patients will phone up to Health Canada and check on stuff, and Health Canada now feels that they have the right to reinterrogate, you know, a patient's application. That application could have been done by an advocate. That patient may not be qualified to actually answer the questions. They're just simply asking the status quo of their license. Now that's a dirty tactic by Health Canada, and why patients have patient advocates. So I think these are things we all need to talk about. What can the coalition do realistically is help patients navigate through these messy waters that the federal government's put us in, and with people that are actually educated to do so. Not people that are ranting and raving about statistical numbers that they read on the internet, or because they read some report in the news and then they want to make it into a goddamn fucking movie. You know, there's real life, and then there's real life. And how to change the policy, I don't know. I mean, how to get them to stop. Why they have it decriminalized is common sense to me, because if they decriminalized, it would be wide open. And we wouldn't see these charges coming down. So until they're done shutting down our dispensaries and they're done shutting down our online services and everything else, then eventually they'll, hopefully the arrests will stop. All I know is that this is by design. There's anybody that thinks it's not is crazy. To think that the Toronto Police Force just had enough to do the biggest mass arrest ever for anything. I mean, since the goddamn shutdown of the fucking what's the fancy name for fucking those anyway, largest mass arrest in like 40 years when it comes to police. So where did the Toronto Police Force get the budget to do Project Claudia and make all those arrests? Again, we got to look at this. Now, large donations from big corporations can go a long way. And big lobbyists talking in Justin Trudeau's ear and getting his chief financial officer, former chief financial officer, Chuck Raffishi, to make his first $1 million off Tweed, that's a conflict of interest in and of itself. And it was in the newspaper. It's not me making it up. It's in the motherfucking newspaper. Google it. Chuck Raffishi makes $1 million off Tweed. Now, who owns OzCan, making the first LP dispensary in Australia aside from the government dispensaries, or a government licensed producer, sorry, is OzCan. And they're a subsidiary of Cannabis Growth Corp. And if you go to Tweed's website, you'll see a little logo that says OzCan. And you'll start to see how I told you it's an international mafia. These are the guys that threaten me. These are the guys that don't like me talking about certain things. But there's also the guys that have come to realize that their people power is pretty strong. The cannabis culture itself is pretty strong, and people power is the only way that you can truly affect change, unless you got money. That's one thing I've learned in all this. I've sat at the table with some pretty powerful people. I've got to see the good, bad, and the ugly of this changing culture. That's why I look forward to watching Dark Harvest. I want to see where they're coming from with their different thought processes. But for me, legalization should allow, ideally, what we always wanted, and should allow us to have our co-ops and our collectives and our small, it should be your choice. If you want to go to a small, you know, B&B and they happen to serve cannabis, that should be your choice, you know, and you should be able to own something like that with a reasonable licensing fee and not some $30,000 fee. It shouldn't be out of the range of the average person that wants to take part in this new booming legalization cannabis industry, that you should have a right to, especially in a free and democratic society, you should have a right to a free and democratic market. Well, Rafishi has actually exchanged with me on Twitter and decided that, again, when a millionaire and the chief financial officer of the Liberal Party, when you get under their skin, because he wore a profiteer shirt, when he wanted to go at it with me on Twitter, it wasn't a problem. You know, he was questioning why I didn't pay for, I asked him why he didn't pay for RV Smith, because the RV Smith helps us. But in actuality, it helped the licensed producers more than anybody. But they didn't pay a goddamn cent to Kurt Tusaw. That was the problem. And Chuck Rafishi wore a profiteer shirt because there was a time when I remember going to the first LIFT conference and watching these licensed producers sit on the stage. My old mentor, Phil Lucas, and his friends, and Chuck Rafishi up on stage. I seen these people talk about how they were going to be the future of our country, that we would be buying their cannabis, they were going to control everything. It was quite a spooky thing to see, because this was powerful people with $20 million backers, respectively, for each company, and they had the power of the pen. They had the government. It was a pretty scary situation to look at, and even scarier as we started to see some of our activists get bought out and switch over, or not necessarily bought out, but just choose to stop being activists and start being loyalists to a licensed producer for a contract and money. And that's okay too, to each their own. You know, it's what I've learned in this evolving market is that there are people changing, and even my friend now, and I have a few other friends that are still actively doing what they can. They're seeing that the writing's on the wall with dispensing, and how to fight this, I don't know. You know, it's not my fight. I know that much. I've never run a dispensary. Don't really care to run one. You know, I care to run a lounge in an information center more than anything, because that's where my heart is. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens. Going back to that collective, just as we close out the show, I would just remind people, if we go back to the whole thanks guys, Mr. Drew Edwards. You should have seen the original piece Drew did for me. Honestly, Drew was a sponsor of Cannabis in Canada. That's why you'll see his logo spin up there in our sponsors. They remain a sponsor, as well as Earl Electric with Dave. But Drew had made me a custom piece. It was smoked glass. It was really, really nice. It was really thin glass, but it was a really nice recycler, and it had CNC, like Cannabis in Canada, the acronyms, engraved right in it. It was really, really nice piece. And unfortunately, my wife broke it by accident. And yeah, long story short, we ended up getting a more thicker, stronger piece of Drew Edwards glass, but we've always liked the recycler. So again, shout out to Drew and the crew back east, and yeah, and definitely to Earl. You know, these guys work hard. They do these throwdowns. I'm watching from a distance, and you know, we don't got that going on here. And this is what we need to remember, that there is a cannabis culture that's thriving, and that it's not for sale. And I cautiously say that now, and that's only because before I used to tell people the cannabis culture is not for sale, and that I've been proven wrong. So, and what I mean by that is they bought some of our best activists, they bought some of our best people, and that's the unfortunate part. Is they've when I say they, the powers that be, trying to get this new. The power, the changing of the guard, if you have it. They want to say there's a changing of the guard. The changing of the guard is who's going to sell cannabis, who's going to educate about cannabis, and who's going to have educational degrees on cannabis. And all this is positive stuff, and it's natural evolution of legalization. I'm not a big history buff, but I'm sure if you go back and you research how prohibition of alcohol ended and what happened subsequently to that with the repeal, and what happened, you know, when people were allowed to start to make alcohol and how licenses were issued and who was specially issued licenses. I'm willing to bet it was very much the same. I would point to why there's only so many beer companies in this country and why there's only so many alcohol companies in this country. After all these years of no prohibition on alcohol, why is it still so restrictive? Mind you, you can make it, you still can't make moonshine, but you can make your own beer and wine at least at home. I love the recyclers because I never have to worry about any freaking dirty freaking bong water blowing back in our mouths. That was the worst part with some of our, Vicky and I both like smaller bangers because we have them with us in public. I like these because I'm a klutz. So I like the bigger ones that's thicker glass, but the smaller ones for when we're in public, we like to have as well. And but those I'll pull too hard, and if there's too much water, you guys ever had that bong water wash? That's the worst thing. It's horrible. What a marathon show this has been. Holy shit. You know, I'm actually gonna throw on a rosin video and grab my coffee here. If you guys haven't seen Preston with Chris Nelson, now this is Weeds on West Broadway. What's cool about this particular video sorry, I'm here, but this particular video, I gotta get all these off. All right, there we go. Now this particular video is Chris doing Weeds on here in South Van. Weeds in South Van. This was a while ago, but this was like last year while we were still awaiting the decision in Allard and stuff. We were out doing some filming and we were squishing some sci-fi. So here's the video, and yeah, squishing a lot actually. We were squishing like, fuck, I think we squished like a ½ pound that night. I can't remember, but yeah, check out the patties and check out the squish, and we'll see you after break. Cheers. Welcome back to Cannabis Canada with Jason Wilcox, the real Cannabis in Canada. We're celebrating a win in Allard. Yeah, welcome back to Cannabis in Canada with Jason Wilcox. I'm kicking here with my brother Sci-Fi.
Happening, bro.
Yeah. And I also got Chris Nelson.
What's up, big guy?
Now, we're going to be kicking it here with some live rosin press. We're doing Nebula, my favorite strain. I often talk about this, you know, showing the garden for it. I've shown it growing. We've been smoking it. Now we're going to press it today.
We're going to press it, yeah. So what we have here is we're going to make some rosin. So I'm kind of new to this. I decided to invest into a big machine to supply the Weeds franchise with rosin. So I've been tweaking with little ideas, and this is my new idea. So what I'm going to do here is 2 presses of 7 grams apiece. So we're going to press a full ounce in 2 presses. So the reason, if you're asking why I have a void there, today I just figured out, if I just have one big puck, where's the rosin in the middle going to go? It's going to stay there. So just about 2 hours ago, I just decided to make a little void right here. And so that void is going to fill up from the center of the rosin here and the center of the rosin there. And so I'm not losing as much percentage. So I just thought of it. It's actually working out pretty good. So I got one ready. So I just made little 7 gram pucks. I'm going to press them down so they fit nicely into my press.
So ½ ounce, everybody. ½ ounce.
There's a ½ ounce there, ready to go. So this is another 7 grams. Your stuff's really sticky. So make another little puck here. So there's my other 7 grams right here for a full ounce. So I'm going to make a nice little, try to make a nice little puck.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's all on the timer.
Yeah.
Timer's not working on it, so how long do you want to press for, Chris?
I just go by the sound, and about 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Yeah.
You know, that's what the guy on rosinpress.ca said. He said, we listen to the sound, the sizzle.
Yeah, I kind of, and I'm pressing bigger amounts myself, but this is just a little demo. So I'm going to slide it in, and my pedal's almost broken. The spring is almost gone, so I'm going to do this by hand. but all day I've been using my foot pedal. So it's going to be kind of loud. So now I'm starting to get tonnage. I'm going by American tons, and because I'm using bigger amounts, so I'm pressing a ½ ounce here. I'm going straight to 17 tons.
What's the temperature?
My bottom plate's supposed to be dialed in at 196, and my top plate's at 189. I figure that's a good amount, but this is my first press on the Romulan, or Nebula, sorry, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, Nebula on the island was the biggest returner, and that's what I'm
nice,
after. Also
right
the
on.
Nose.
Yeah,
that nose.
Yeah, definitely the nose. The nose on this Nebula, sorry, is amazing. As soon as you crack that jar, it's just like wow. Yeah. So I'm looking at about.
Speaking of jar, that's what we got here. That's the neb sitting in there.
Yeah.
Popped up.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have rosin. Look at that color.
Wow.
That's champagne colored rosin. That is beautiful. Champagne rosin.
Let's get some.
So you see that little void I made there. You can see that. That could have been wasted. What I learned today is if I made just one big puck. So you get a bit more of a return. Yeah. Now you get a little bit right there.
I'm gonna get. There you go. Okay, so we're back here now. We're going to do the second press. We've been able to get some B-roll, show you some close-ups of the return there. We're going to do a total weight return on basically a 1 ounce press in total. So now we're moving on to another ½ ounce basically press here.
Press number 2, yeah.
Press number 2, another ½ ounce.
2 nuts, 2 nice little patties there. Let's press it
Straight
down.
Nebula.
Those terps are insane. There you go. Okay. So you got that timer ready? So I'll tell you when to start the timer. As soon as I hit my first ton. Start now. Straight to 17 tons.
13 seconds.
I probably don't need that much tonnage, but I like to make the presses so it's about 1/16 of an inch. It's almost like paper.
Yeah.
So you know you're
learning this, Chris. Just
yeah,
so
yeah,
the viewers,
yeah.
Just so the viewers know.
I'm only day 2 into pressing rosin, so I got a learning to do. Yeah, but yeah, check out the pancakes.
Well, the proof's going to be in the return because people online know what they get in the return.
Looks like a piece of paper.
We'll show the stack after.
Definitely. Past it. That's okay.
We tend to always be a little bit late.
Yeah.
Donor time.
So,
yeah.
Look at that.
There you go.
This thing is bigger.
Look at that.
Oh, shit.
You guys ready for this?
Look at that.
Oh,
You guys
man.
ready for that?
That's picture moment right there.
Yeah, take a picture of that?
Yeah. And you got the open one right
Go
there.
ahead.
Yeah.
Open her up.
Okay.
Ready?
Here we go.
3, 2, 1. Ooh. That's a nice return.
That's sick.
So this is my first time pressing a Nebula, so I don't quite know this strain. I press a lot of Pink Kush, I press a lot of Jack Herer, True OG, and this is my first time pressing Nebula. So if my return is not completely up to rosin standards, don't forget, this is day 2 for me.
But it's a lot of fun playing around with it, I tell you that.
It is, definitely,
has a
yeah.
smile on our face because
Yeah.
we're going to go out, scoop this up, we're going to weigh it, and then we're going to start dabbing on it. So we'll see you in the next part when we're back out in the lounge and chilling back out there. And wow, this is where it's at. Solventless, organic medicine, and right from the organic garden to the organic dabs. I love it.
This is press number 1 for this 1 ounce.
Yeah,
I'm going to
press.
I'm going to do a second press, and it's probably going to yield me just a little bit more. It'll just be the icing on the cake.
Nice.
We'll get back to you shortly.
Alrighty, we'll see you in the next part.
Cool.
The pancakes.
Okay, I'm back. Back. With the dark background. Oh, what a show. I can't wait to get my hair cut. Oh, it's finally getting dark. My kid's on her break. Oh. You gotta love it when your teenagers are young. Well, she's not even a teenager anymore. She's a young adult. She, you know, the fact she's in college now, it's still stuttering out of my mouth as I say it, but makes me a proud pappy. So that's for sure. My freaking phone died, so now I gotta try to log back in and see if this will actually let me communicate with you guys. But I don't know how the hell Mad Child got on there, but okay. I'm trying to get into the chat here to monitor whatever I can. It's been such a long show that everything has literally died out of my gear. And I love the thing too, recently in California there, John Mendoza did the golfing thing. I thought that was wicked. They've been doing that there in Cali for a while. Really the originators of cannabis golf, and it was really cool to see that. So, yeah. Golf, and it was really cool to see that. Okay, there. Oh shit, see I just got it going and my fucking phone died again. Son of a bitch. No, it is what it is. I know, Kelly, I seen that you've tuned into the show. How you doing, brother? Oh, let me see if I can't get my phone cooperating a little bit better with me. For now, I'm just going to freestyle it and sit back. If you guys are wondering what's on my TV, I don't know. It's a playlist. Let's bump it back. I don't know how Mad Child got on there because I don't really listen to much. But these guys, these SDK, Stomp Down Killers, these guys perform for the coalition. Snack himself was up there, and Caspian. And shout out to Caspian. It was actually interesting to hear that he used to watch my grow videos back in the day. That was kind of cool. Little crossroads and cross sector to here, so that was kind of cool. And I've been listening to these cats. I mean, these kids got it going on. They really speak to you. You know, you listen to their lyrics. They really speak to how people. Kind of cool. And I've been listening to these cats. I mean, these kids got it going on. They really. Okay, I can't communicate that way, so I just gotta wait for my phone then. But yeah, I was gonna say these kids back there. I call them kids. I mean, they're younger than us. I mean, I think I can't speak for all of them, but many of them are younger than us. But really speak to the West Coast. I was growing up on the East, and I was back there. It was funny. I was talking with my friends about the Blue Goose, and those of us who've unfortunately done any trouble when we were younger, we understand what the Blue Goose is in Ontario, and well, how unfortunate it is to have to ride it sometimes. But anyway, that kind of came up in discussion, and out here, you know, I listen to lyrics because it really takes me back to my own roots in my own background, and some of the obstacles that we overcome in life as human beings. It's just amazing how far we can come, and in obstacles, and in the different things that we face as people. Living in modern day, I mean, it's changed a lot. Vicky and I often talk about how much things have changed. Just even with respect to, wow, I cannot even get a charge on there. How much have changed just with respect to the past, 20 years with past 20 years with the different, even with what you see on TV, what's permitted on TV. It's crazy. I'm going to try and put this on again and hopefully not hear myself. If I mute this, hopefully you guys can, yeah, you guys should be able to still hear me because that's system audio. And then I should be able to open this up. And though it's there, now I can see the comments. Yay! Until my phone gets a bit of a charge on it, I can actually see more of the comments, guys. Thank you. Okay, Merck is great too. Yeah, no, this whole crew is great, guys, and they're connected directly to FANT, and FANT's directly connected to BC, and onwards it goes. And you want true representation of Canada and more the West Coast. I mean, I grew up in T-Dot and in Oshawa, and I grew up, you know, doing stupid shit in Scarborough and in Regent Park. So that was just my life, and in young offender stuff, and you know, just stupid shit. But when I listen to these guys, yeah, I listen to this group. It's really them representing the West Coast and what it must have been like being raised up again West Coast, no different. Just you know, in shitty neighborhoods and raised up in poverty and what that's like. You know, and some of the shit that you get in as a result of it. I've overcome a lot of obstacles in my life. I didn't get HIV from being a goddamn a princess, that's for sure. You know, it's the life you live and the way that you live it. Actually, these comments that are coming through on Facebook right now are not actually newest comments. These are actually outdated comments. Wow. Facebook's super slow. So you guys that are reading comments on Facebook, it must be like really behind. That or else it's just my feed. I don't know, but whatever the case is, it's I'll be glad when I'm back on my phone. I got 1%. Freaking plugged in, it should be good enough. I really cannot keep up with these comments. So, how's work going? Can you bring me home some of your flatbread?
Yeah.
Cool.
After.
Well, when you get home, we'll watch some TV or something, and bring home some flatbread. That sounds good.
Tea or the pepperoni?
Whatever's healthiest.
It's not healthy with cheese.
No cheese, just a flatbread. Seriously. I'm live, but seriously, just a flatbread. We're just discussing snacks for later. It's my daughter. She's going back to her shift. Got my phone back working, and I'm going to now get on to Facebook where I can see the chat, guys. I apologize, but at the same time, I'm sure you guys understand this is it's not easy to at this point I'm gassed out, so I'm grasping at straws to yeah, run down my energy. I also started my new treatment, and that treatment gives me a lot of energy to my energy. Bam. Oh, I got it back. Okay. I see a lot of laugh out louds and Rose City, and that's all I can see. But anyway, I can see the chat again. That's important. And I've got my coffee reloaded. I'm going to redo this torch. And we can keep talking about whatever we need to talk about. Or we can keep playing videos. I really don't care. I'm going to kill the last... how long have I been on here? I'm going to kill the last probably half hour. Check out me. PS4, bro. Check out me. PS4, yeah. It's funny people aren't talking about PS4. I need to know about better games. Call of Duty. My daughter and I actually play Call of Duty. Fuck. I don't know how to do all that online stuff, though. She's actually a little better than I am, of course, and I don't know how to get online. And even when I do, all those kids kick my ass anyway, so I last all the 10 minutes and fucking before I just flip out because I get killed so fast. But when you're on a good team, I guess you're on a good team. So, but I need to learn more. I'm not sure again if yeah, that's the Stomp Down Killer playlist that I got going in the background. Honestly, I listen to these cats all the time. Since I first heard about them and met them out here in BC, and had the chance of seeing them up in Vernon, I started listening to their lyrics. And again, I was talking about this earlier, that sometimes certain lyrics just speaks to you and resonates with you. And it depends on what you've experienced in life and what you've been through, and certain things may resonate. And for me, this is just one particular group I'm happy to have found, because I listen to a lot of shit that's really old, and I listen to it repetitively. It drives Vicky nuts. But yeah, I do the same thing here. This is just a new thing, which I give these kids a lot of credit. These guys are blowing up, you know, all across the world, literally. Like they're a Canadian group, but they're known all around the world. So it's really hats off to them. Black Ops. Black Ops is another one, Guinevere and I. We finished all these games, but we're not good with getting online. I bought that 1 year membership for each of us, and we have the headsets. We have all the shit for PlayStation 4, but we can't seem to get it to work. So I've kind of gotten frustrated with that part. Minecraft. I definitely, my daughter and I are looking for a new Call of Duty type game. We got Infinite Warfare and that we've already beat it, so we're trying to find something else other than for us to go online, which I have to, once again, figure out, so, yeah. But definitely, my daughter and I went from PS3 to PS4 over the holidays, just because we wanted to make sure we upgraded. We play these games, but now we've run out of we run out of everything from our. Like I said, we beat all of our games, so now she's bored just playing the same one because my kid, unlike me, she has this photographic memory. She can remember each goddamn level. She knows what's around every corner, so she goes running way ahead of me and. I'm constantly the guy, wait up, I'm trying to fucking find my way, where the hell did you go? And whether that's a stoner effect or whether that's just kids kicking their parents' ass in video games, whatever it is, it's not always fun to get your ass kicked by your kid nightly either. So, but it's fun hanging out with them either way. Yeah, SDK is also a movement, you're right, it's not just a hip hop group, they're very much so they brought back, no, I grew up in Toronto, so I grew up in Oshawa tagging and spray painting, and I spray painted my wall. I had funk on my wall. I remember all the spray paint that landed on my floor. My mom could have killed me. Carpet was destroyed, and yeah, that was me. That was when we were breakdancing on fucking Yonge Street, you know, for tourists. That's what I remember. Yeah, spray painting and tagging the GO train, and well, there was a GO train for us, and then there was the subway station as well. And tagging different places, but really it was what happened, what we've seen in New York with the art, and really it was brought back in the 90s, it seems, by this SDK group, and it's became national, like all around the world, wherever you're seeing graffiti and graphics. You know, I'm not really an artist, so I don't fully understand it, but I just remember tagging as a kid, and I'm sure this is an evolution of it, and they've definitely become known around the world. And what in the fuck is on my TV? Well, I can't figure that one out either, but I'll let that go. Yeah, fuck. You know what, Kelly? You know, I don't know if you remember at BioCup, or yeah, I don't know if you see me at BioCup falling my ass, but I tried to get on that stupid skateboard that you ride on now. You push the button and well, you go on it, but yeah, I went straight down. There's no chance of me trying to break dance now. That's for damn sure. You know, I can barely even. I'm lucky to get up and out of bed, you know, most days. So, but back those were the days when we were breakdancing, and again we called it funk. So you know, I watched it go from that. You know, we watched hip hop, the evolution of hip hop, and gangster hip hop kind of evolved, and techno and dance and mods and punks and all the different shit that we grew up with in the 80s. You know, we've now seen evolve to where we're at, and you know, of course, once the drug war started for us in the 80s, at least for me, the gang started. So, you know, my life got screwed up in that respect. But everything prior to that was fun. It was all about breakdancing. It was about having fun. It was about skateboarding. I did a lot of skateboarding in Ontario. Used to ride a lot of ramps and skate in the streets, and really weren't out to cause a lot of problems. It wasn't until drugs came around and guns that we got in trouble, because yeah, that's just part of running the streets and doing stupid shit when you're a kid. Anyway, I don't know what the fuck I'm even talking about that. On a different topic, what can we talk about? Robot, laugh out loud. Yeah, well, you know Kelly, you old school bastard. I'm looking forward to coming over to see you. Kelly's vice president of the coalition. I was talking with him, as I mentioned earlier in the show, for a good period of time today, just discussing, you know, what our options are for this fall, and if anything, and to revamp the coalition and bring together, you know, a new mission of some sort, whatever that might be. We're not even sure how this is going to play out, but in the meantime, you know, I hope everybody's just enjoying their summers and having a lot of fun, And those that are interested, again, with the Coalition documentary, please get a hold of us at cannabisincanada@gmail.com so we know that you're interested. It's hard with how many people are already casted, which are the core members of the coalition. But we also would love to hear from people that have been members that have donated, and we have all the donation records. I have all the donation records as a client in Allard, so I can check to see who donated. I don't care if you donate $2 or $20. You know, I would love to have people have the shout out in the documentary and have an opportunity to do that. And when we are filming we will be filming on different sites. In different cities over the next couple of months, and when we are, we'll let you guys know which city we're in and where we're filming, and that will be your opportunity to come by and give a shout out and get on at least the B-roll, and you know, and should the editors get it in there, then it's an opportunity to get in and into the documentary. Yeah. So with that said, what the fuck else am I gonna do? I'm gonna smoke my joint. And I'm really just killing time because it's gotten to the point, it's cloudy out here in Vancouver now, and just starting to get dark. So once my kid gets home, it's gonna be either movies or PlayStation, one or the other, and some snacks. And in the meantime, we're going to look at what to do with the coalition. So if you guys are also interested in the coalition, get a hold of us. Reach out to Kelly, reach out to myself, reach out to Justin, reach out to any of the leadership of the coalition, and let us know what you're interested in doing. That way in the fall time, we'll know more what the government's doing. Our lawyers will know more. I'm sure more will become evident around us. And I think, like I said in 2012, get yourself on the file, so when Health Canada makes its move, we're ready to take it on. I would say the same thing now. Get yourselves together, get your name at least on a file, so that when the federal government makes its move, we're prepared to take it on. That's all I can say, because you know, history sometimes does repeat itself. Kelly K, I look forward to coming over to see you. Kelly, how did your party go, man? You had a badass party over there, and that's, again, this is how we used to do our fundraisers. See, now we just have get-togethers, and I was like, well, I was in Ontario, we had a few get-togethers. They're not fundraisers, it's just get-togethers, and man, we smoke a lot of weed, you know, and we have a lot of fun. Yeah, I know we do. I'm with you, brother. No, we do. We need to hear from our membership. It'd be good to see people speak out more strongly. I mean, honestly, it's easy to come to us in private and say, you know, you really want a coalition, but you know, if people are besmirching the coalition and attacking them, and they're not really being, you know, our membership isn't really standing up and saying, you know, you're not accurate or you're wrong, then you know, it doesn't. Let me just put it this way: the leadership don't want to continue to be the sole people that are speaking for the coalition. I think that the membership, based on the 5-year provenance that we have and the fact that lawyers are doing documentaries with us, speaks volumes to truth and to power. I'll just leave it with that. Oh, my joint. All right, back to dabbing. So, yeah, I'm fucking all over the place right now. But I do want to keep the show going only because you guys are still on there. You know, we're cruising. This has been one of those fucking marathon shows. But I know I need to run myself down because I'm on this weird. Now I know y'all have flown. Some of y'all have flown at least from fucking coast to coast. And when you do, you get this weird jet lag, and it literally takes days to get back into the time zone of BC because I've been in Ontario for 3 weeks. So it's completely fucky, but I'm sitting here all fucky trying to make myself run myself down so that I'll actually sleep tonight and I'll be able to get up and work out tomorrow. I already worked out today, but then I worked out so much this morning that I actually put myself to sleep. So then I slept this afternoon. Now I'm trying to run myself into the ground again. I'm sure you guys have been through this, but this is, if you're wondering why I'm doing this marathon show, it's one, because I can, and you know, it goes right back to this. It goes back to these. I heard this rumor that there's people talking shit online about the coalition documentaries being being funded and filmed by Jason, and he's getting all this money, and it's like, yeah, you fucking retards, you're on top of this. Now those of you in Ontario who have seen us filming, and those that know what we're filming, realize that it's no different than what we're bringing to you right here on this show today, filmed with our own gear and filmed on our own time. It's called actually doing something and producing something for your community, and not just being a keyboard warrior talking shit about others. So to our little fan club out there trying to talk shit, that's about the most I'll give them, and I'll leave it at that. And Kelly, when will we be over? Well, Vicky's not back until I think next month, and I can't speak for sure on that, but I think that's her plan. And when she gets back again, me coming over, I'll be over there because I'm filming the documentary. I'd like to bring over my co-producer with Growing Exposed. To bring over, because he has a better camera gear than I have. I have good camera gear, but he has really, really good camera gear. So when we come over to the island, we'd like to make sure that we film, have 3 locations and 3 people, so that we're not screwing around with our time and our efforts, and we can make the most productive trip to the island and get everybody filmed at once. And there are key people that we need to get. So definitely, but when it comes to your party, bro, anytime. If you're throwing a party, I want to come over. Honestly, like I said, I want to get out on the ocean fishing. I keep saying this. I have still not caught a fish this year. I just want to try to get out and spend a productive summer. If we're going to need to go back and get back into anything in the fall, then you know, it's best to have a really good summer. And yeah, there you go, Sean. Fish bite early. That's the right idea. That's where I should be at. So yeah, but I'll come over there. Just let me know, Kelly, when you got things going on, and we'll make it happen. And the other thing is to oh, I'm still in Ontario time. We also have to look at the Cannabis Act, guys, that is going to apply to everybody. And I think the driving thing is something else that we as a collective can look at. I think anybody that actually cares would and should look at the driving laws. This is somewhere where they're going to make a lot of money, and a lot of families are going to get disrupted. People are going to lose their cars. People are going to get in fights with their wives and vice versa. All because of a policy that has a test that isn't scientifically sound. It has not been tested, and it has not held up in the courts. And it's being implemented on our people. And until somebody challenges this driving law and challenges this test, unfortunately, many of our civilians are going to fall victim to, once again, bad, failed cannabis policy in the country of Canada. And it's our job to report on it, help change it. I'll note, remember I used to talk about the smell cases John Conroy liked so much? I'll also note that no longer can police cite that they smell cannabis for why they searched your car or your house. Just for the record. They can no longer do that, because Mr. Conroy and other lawyers brought it to such a level of constitutionality that lawyers were never, or police in the academy, are not trained to smell marijuana. They don't go through a class where coke smells like this, marijuana smells like this, etc. They don't fucking do it. Therefore, they're not qualified, and they can't base it on smell. It's also suggestive as to how an officer would know about the smell in the first place. So those laws have been crushed now. I believe that the new driving laws, the scientific data behind the testing, I believe will all be able to be crushed as well. I believe that that's just what we have to do. And we can crush these laws, and we can crush, when I say crush them, I mean that the test needs to be proven as unconstitutional, ultimately, or non-scientific. And if we can prove that it's non-scientific, which we know it is, it will allow us, if they need to have a safety test or a driving test law, then they apply it to all drugs, would be one thing. And take the focus off of cannabis and focus more on the ones that will actually make you curve your car and crash, like morphine, oxycodone, opiates in general, sleeping pills. Then we can get into the antipsychotics and all the shit that they do to your eyes and your peripheral vision. You know, if you want to talk about real fucking drugs and real fucking problems, let's talk about pharmacopoeia, because that's where the problem lies. Pharmacological drugs that are fucking everybody up. There's a big problem. But no, we want to focus on the cannabis. I don't understand the logic. I don't understand the reason. But those laws are in place, and they're going to hurt. They're already applying it in Ontario, and I believe they're going to hurt our people. It's going to hurt the Canadian people. And more people like my sister, my uncles, my aunts, anybody, my fellow friends, anybody that drives a vehicle and happens to use cannabis medicinally, because of how long it stays in your system, and because the more longer you've been using it, the higher concentration you use, the more that's going to be in your bloodstream. Therefore, the nanograms that they're measuring to determine whether you're intoxicated don't apply as much when you weigh in resistance and tolerance. It's the same reason they don't have these tests applied to morphine or oxycodone, because the person could have been taking it for 2 years. Therefore, they have a higher dosage. They're going to test higher on a test. But with cannabis, they're trying to do it ass backwards, and they're trying to slam us, and they're trying to screw us. And my friends, it's going to hurt us. Our bodies do use it differently, 100%. And that's what I'm trying to say, guys, is each person uses it differently. And most importantly, we do know it stays in the body from 6 weeks to 6 months. You know, so the 5 nanograms that they're looking for, which is super low, in these tests, I think it's 5. Again, I might be getting this wrong on the amounts, but either way, it's such a small fraction that, like, I have to say, I piss cannabinoids. You know, I fucking fart cannabinoids. So because of how much cannabis I use, and that doesn't impair my driving. So this is where it becomes a very conflictual issue, especially for newbies, because new people will still test higher than 5 nanograms because they don't know any better. If they ate a cookie the day before, they go driving the next day and they still fail the test. Now, were they wrong? Absolutely not. They've slept off that cookie. Were they okay to drive the car? It was at their own discretion. This law is arbitrary and unconstitutional and not scientific. That's the best way that I can put that. Unconstitutional and not scientific. You know, I said it was unconstitutional to try and remove our gardens once because they didn't have the evidence, and that's come true. And I believe you'll see that this test in time will be ruled unconstitutional and non-scientific. And I look forward to that day because it will once again vindicate activists and, most important, vindicate the Canadian people from all the bad stuff that happens with respect to some of this here. Coalition Flies Drone. Here's one of my coolest videos. Just to run this out a little bit, I'm going to give it a little stretch and do a dab and then come back. Share this around, guys. Show you like it. Remember to like the page at least for me, please, and like the show if you can. Share it around to a few other groups. Maybe we'll get some new people in. If you guys really want to build a 100,000-man army, it starts with building bridges and communities on social media and on the ground at events, barbecues, right up to big concerts and onwards. Just remember, people power. If we give up on people power, I believe there will be no power, and that's probably a bigger concern that I have than anything else. Anyway, I'm going to throw this on here. What is this? I don't even know what this is. I'm going to throw this on, and we'll see you guys after break.
Cannabis in Canada. We're celebrating a win in Allard. Alright, so we're here now. We're kicking it with Cannabis Lights and checking out one of the facilities. Amazing strains. We got Nebula going in here. We got some ice cream kush. Over here, we got some amazing grape kush. I mean, the grower here, fabulous guy, put some great heart into it. That's what Allard was all about. You can clearly see this was a fast flip. But if you just look at the phenos in the room and some of the, like the girth, this is a Nebula here, which is a very popular strain, one that I'm going to be growing personally. It's just sick. I mean, look at the girth. So you guys are sitting there wondering if you can't what you can do in a fast flip. This is a good example of a plant that you can do in a fast flip and get a good return. Then you got your different strains throughout here. Again, with all the controversy around Allard, this particular grower had to come back and do a flat fast flip. Many of y'all growers out there know what it's like to be in that position. No matter what it is, failed friggin' hydro, bad landlord, whatever. Those days are over for us soon. Now we get to grow. It's a constitutional right, and clearly there's no public safety. And we get to continue to do this and experiment with these genetics and continue to bring all that this is. This here helps so many medical patients. It just makes me happy. I'm back home in the different gardens that we fought so hard to enjoy. So everybody, peace out to Cannabis Delights, and stay tuned for Sci-Fi. There's this freaking guy, Sci-Fi, you need to meet him. And when you meet Sci-Fi, you'll understand what Sci-Fi is. And until then, when you see Sci-Fi High come around, get high with Sci-Fis, and you'll understand what Sci-Fi is. I'll see you next how to use your Zoom?
Yep.
Alright, so here we got a bonsai. Now I've actually watched this. I've been getting sent videos. Those who watch my older videos, the bonsai videos, this is a good example of low stress training. And a little bit, I'm not sure if hard stress was used in here for topping as well, but that's how I used to do my bonsai videos back in 2007, 2008 on Cannabis in Canada. We're continuing to do that now. Now we can grow. And this is a good example for all y'all out there wondering a fast flip, how to get a good return, and all this open branching. You need to look at how it was done. And it all comes down to here. Hole like I taught back in the day, put down the bottom, strap down using the right guarding stuff. You don't want to strap this off because you'll cut the veins and your plant will actually choke itself out. So you have to always leave enough space and use the right stuff when you're strapping it down. And this grower's taken a lot of care to bonsai this out and train it, and now it's flowering. And this is just an amazing example of what you can do without having to actually do hard stress training, which is actually cutting the top and making it devil out into two heads, which can also alter the genetic profile of the plant. There's a lot of issues around stressing the plant out. That's why I've been a strong supporter of low stress training versus hard stress. And hats off to this grower once again. I love the grow rooms. Hats off to Allard and hats off to the coalition for bringing us back to plants, man. I love this. This is what growing's all about, being able to do this. I'm so happy. Still shows that's that bonsai right there. Get it still shows. Get it still shows. I didn't really get this there. Yeah, this one just shows.
But yeah, it was hard with the
Here, I'll try it. It's better for her to get it because this is you can also see it this way. Here. You can see how it's bonsai'd out and trained.
Shows how you can have 5 big stalks of a 3 gallon. So it's like having 3 1 gallons going at a time. This is showing growers how you can have 1 full plant, 2 full plants, 3 full plants, instead of doing 1 gallon and getting tall 24 inches and maybe this out of it.
The main thing to notice here,
so we can get
the main thing to notice,
the main, so you can see how you're doing it.
Yeah. The main thing to look at here, guys, is the freaking internode spacing from up here. Going straight down, this is what we're talking about. You got internode spacing on all these branches.
That's an indica dominant kush, BC kush #1. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they're not supposed to be this tight gap. That's awesome.
A nice tight internode, and you can see these are all going to be terminal buds. So instead of having, like my friend's saying, 1 terminal bud, you're going to have multiple terminal buds with close internode spacing that runs down. So you know this is all going to be 1 bud, this is all going to be 1 bud, etc. And that's the purpose of taking this little extra time to do your low stress training. Train it over, and continue to grow. And we'll actually bring you a full show, full details on how to do this and how to bring it to this thing, and we'll actually show you what the yield is when this is done. We look forward to bringing you lots more from Cannabis Delights, and stay tuned for that sci-fi guy. Cheers. Real Cannabis in Canada. Welcome back to Cannabis Canada with Jason Wilcox, the real Cannabis in Canada. We're celebrating a win in Allard.
Welcome back to another edition of Cannabis Canada with Jason Wilcox. As always, on the educational trail here in Canada, we're here to talk about phenotypes, Girl Scout cookies. Just like Kush and all the other stuff, you know, you get a name and everybody, all the growers run and want to get it. Well, here's another example. We got Girl Scout cookies. Same seed set, 2 different phenotypes. Now, a lot of people don't understand, well, what does he mean phenotypes? As I asked my cameraman to kind of zoom in here, you can see the dark green. I mean, there is a dark green hue. This is a finished, properly flushed plant. And that, everybody's going to say it's green crack. Now it might be. It may be that it's a hybrid of green crack and Girl Scout. I don't know. But the phenotype is definitely like a green crack. And the tight internode spacing. You see this bud, this tight internode spacing? Now when we switch over from here, and we actually check out this plant here, not only do you see the difference in the color spectrum, in the hues, but you actually see the internode spacing differential. I mean, it's just astronomical. And this is this is considered a phenotype, your internode spacing. Now some people might say that's light, that's stretching from the light. These plants, in my understanding, is where they were growing the exact same height. So again, you even got a height differential. Now how it smokes, of course, we don't know. But the fact it came from the same seed set tells me one thing. It is not stable genetics. We need to find out how to backcross it, so when you put down your seeds, they should all come up just like when you do a clone, relatively looking like sisters, like twins. That should be what you're getting. And however, any F1 hybrid seeds, you put 10 down, you can expect to get something like this. And it's not unusual. It's a matter of figuring out how to stabilize it if it's the strain you really want. So if this is that Girl Scouts cookie, one, it's unstable, so we have to figure out why. And two, we want to figure out exactly what's causing the green. Because if it is green crack and it was bred into there, it's just going to be another interesting pheno to work with. The purpling off, again, you can see when you see stuff like this compared to this, that's the difference in the phenos. I mean, just again, it's not that there's no flushing, it's not that this is a nitrogen thing, there isn't that there's too much food left in this. This is simply a green crack type pheno that we're seeing. And in the other Girl Scout from the same seed set, you're seeing these phenos. However, with that hybrid vigor, it's going boom, and it's like, yeah, I want to smoke it, it's looking awesome. At the same time, we want to figure out how do we get all our seeds to look the same. So in upcoming videos, we're going to be working on that and trying to bring it to you as best we can so that we can all understand how to breed our seeds, backcross our seeds, and stabilize our genotypes and understand our phenotypes. This is Jason Wilcox, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.
We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke and I'll be lighting up that weed. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke and I'll be lighting up that weed. Smoke weed like Bob Marley, getting high and I like to party. Mary Jane stimulates the brain, she blow the smoke, take away the pain. My dream house in my greenhouse with a flat screen and a big couch, half baked with a big bomb. Smoke it all till the weed's gone. Smell good, my weed strong, my money stack and my weed's long. Smoking Keisha, Wiz Khalifa, Snoop Dogg when I'm around the reef. It's beautiful when I roll up, it's like fine art when I burn it up. Smoking loud, we gon' turn it up. Smoking loud, we gon' turn it up. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke and I'll be lighting up that weed. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke and I'll be lighting up that weed. Put your lighters up, let's spark one. Get high, let's blaze up. It was a long day, we lighting weed, we smoking, we don't give a fuck. Roll up, no stress, smoke weed, no protest. 420, we live, I roll it up in my weed ride. Put your lighters up, let's spark one. Getting high, let's blaze up. It was a long day, we lighting weed, we smoking, we don't give a fuck. Roll up, no stress, smoke weed, no protest. 420, we live, I roll it up in my weed ride. Grinding all this weed, we gon' have to break this up. Mary Jane's my main bitch, won't you come get fucked up? Oh, you don't smoke no weed, well I can't say what's up. In memory, your whack ass, when I light this up. Rolling it up when I'm blowing when the weed, smelling the smoke and you know that it's me. Puffing on good and you know who it be. Smoke like a hippie, come fuck with a G. Light it up when I blaze one. Light it up when I blaze one. We gon' smoke piff when that haze come. Smoke piff when that haze come. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke it, I'll be lighting up that weed. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke it, I'll be lighting up that weed. Put your lighters up, let's spark one. Getting high, let's blaze up. It was a long day, we lighting weed, we smoking, we don't give a fuck. Roll up, no stress, smoke weed, no protest. 420, we live, I roll it up in my weed ride. Put your lighters up, let's spark one. Getting high, let's blaze up. It was a long day, we lighting weed, we smoking, we don't give a fuck. Roll up, no stress, smoke weed, no protest. 420, we live, I roll it up in my weed ride. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke it, I'll be lighting up that weed. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke it, I'll be lighting up that weed.
Ever since 2 U.S. states legalized.
All right, and we are back, and holy shit, I made that transition actually work on time. Holy fuck. Now, civil disobedience 101. Nobody flew a drone up ever, and that was when we had our last 420 here in Vancouver at the Art Gallery, but nobody had flown up a drone. And the coalition that year, we were in front of the stage, so we flew up a drone that year. I don't know, 500 feet over the crowd, and got the 300-degree panoramic shot that everybody wanted to get. And of course, many people can see how it shut down many of our city downtown streets here in Vancouver, and hence the reason why we had to move down to Sunset Beach, and that was the outcome of really the size that we have. And now we got this big problem with the Parks Board. Here nor there, they're starting to. I'm just gonna get some oil for this chair, it sounds like. But it looks like we're gonna have to get we're gonna have to pay attention to 420s, because now they're gonna become after next year they're going to become corporate holidays. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they make out of 420, because to me there's going to be ongoing, in lieu of legalization. I don't believe you can heavily restrict and tax and heavily regulate and also fully legalize. So I think there's a lot of work left to do. Even though we're about to legalize, I think we still need to, well, hopefully decriminalize before we legalize, and most importantly, work on getting our brothers and sisters who have convictions, getting those convictions overturned and getting them out of jail. You know, especially if they're in for nonviolent crimes such as growing cannabis and or possessing it. It's something that can be fought for. It's something that should be fought for. We often forget our fallen warriors, and those are the people that, not all of them were drug dealers trying to be millionaires. Some of them were simply trying to grow cannabis for themselves, and they got caught with it, you know. And they're doing time because they didn't have good lawyers, or because they didn't have the right connections or family to be able to get them the right legal protection. So they're doing bullshit crime on bullshit time, and it should be decriminalized, and they should be released. That's normally what happens when you repeal a bad law. The government's admitted it to being a bad law. People want it to be legalized, but they continue to criminalize our brothers and sisters and allow these guys in suits with millions of dollars to walk in, and they are the criminals, but they're walking in, monopolizing the civilians and the people of Canada and brainwashing them that cannabis needs to be controlled, THC needs to be capped, and dispensaries need to be controlled by said people. But I guess in lieu of legalization, that is the way that in lieu of legalization, I guess that's the way it's going to be. I can't. all I can say is I'm happy we won our gardens. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I can tell you I'm going to have a lot of fun reporting on it. As you guys can tell, I enjoy the job that I do because I get to share with people. Back in 2007 when I started my show on YouTube, and you guys can check the starter dates, you know, when I started doing my grow channel. I started it because the government would give us these pink slips and they wouldn't tell us how to grow. They would expect these medical patients to automatically know how to grow, and unfortunately some of them would be setting up Christmas tree lights because they thought that was what was the right thing to do. They couldn't afford a $60 grow Bible, or maybe didn't have time to read it. The government was almost setting patients up to fail. So I started a grow channel that taught people how to grow, you know, at home, and the different methodologies that can be implemented and how to use a proper grow environment, etc. That's how it started. I don't even know where the fuck I was going with that, but there was a point that I was making. And again, it goes back to the need to teach then. I think it's more evident even now. It's more relevant now that there's thousands of these grow shows out there. It's not about right, wrong, or indifferent. It's just about making sure that people are getting the information and it's not costing them a consultant fee. I'm hearing about these consultants and they're calling themselves experts, and most of them I've known for all of a minute. They've been on the set and they haven't actually been working with medical patients or end cannabis users or end cannabis products. So if you haven't been working in the industry or with the patients that use it, if you're not an end user yourself, how can you possibly be a consultant to those end users? You cannot read this stuff in a book. I don't know how else I can word this. You can't read solely. I guess you could, but whether you could fully engage and fully take it in what the cannabis plant is, to grow it, to use it, to when it actually is a healing property to a person. And unfortunately, there's only a fraction of the country that applies to. And until they get sick and they realize there's many more benefits to cannabis and in high doses, then they'll realize the medicinal value to cannabis. But for those of us that have already realized it, it's very unfortunate to hear of any sort of capping, to hear of any sort of continued need to fight over what in essence has been proven through the federal courts time and time again to be a plant that's non-addictive, has no overdose rate, and simply should be freed as a herb and not governed as a pharmaceutical. But no, because it's worth $7 billion because of 94 years of Reefer Madness, they need to do Reefer Madness 2.0 and hit us with this new version, and that's to monopolize the country. See, if they're not going to allow control of it, then they're going to keep control of it. So again, they couldn't keep control under prohibition. Country wanted to legalize. They couldn't control it, you know, as far as the war on drugs. So they legalized. But now they've taken it still out of the hands of the people and forcing almost, again, we talk about stopping the brothers and sisters from going to jail. We can't stop that as long as there's criminal sanctions for simply sharing a bit of cannabis. It's one thing if you're running a dispensary and making hundreds of thousands of dollars for the police to come in and raid you. It's another thing to be arresting people that are swapping out ounces between each other, and that's why I can't wait for next year with a 30-gram share limit, because you can walk up and share an ounce between one another. You know, that's an important part of legalization that I look forward to. It's very important. And again, this is where there's many of us in the industry, and my friend that's in the chat now, who's kept his wife alive for many years, long after, you know, the doctor said she would live. He's kept her alive using cannabis, which has kept cancer at bay. And it's demonstrated once again the powers of cannabis and the powers of caregiver. And certainly there's no caps. If they were to cap the cannabis, they'd kill her. This is the problem I have, and I think we all should have, with the federal government trying to do anything other than free this plant to the people in its holistic context. Let the researchers research, let the pharmaceutical companies do what they want to do, but free this plant to the people and let the people learn to heal themselves as mom and pop shops. And those that want to order from big corporations can do so for the special packaging and the fancy Snoop Dogg fucking signature. That's her choice. How do we get there? I don't know. I just don't know how the answer is to get there, because no lawyer has yet to show me a fight. I've said this on the show for a couple years now, that I've been asking for lawyers to show a fight that protects dispensaries, that doesn't defend them, but actually gives them a challenge that will change the law to allow other people to grow, or allow other people to sell cannabis, and it not to be restricted to just a few people. And I think that that's part of the legalization market. There are people with their foot in the door with their municipalities. There's friends of mine that I know that are very smart, and they haven't only opened their dispensaries, but they've stayed close with their city council. They've stayed close with the people that have power in their cities, because they paid attention to what they did in Colorado and what they did in California and what they're doing in Washington State. They paid attention. It's who you know politically, you know, and it's how you carry yourself on the ground and how you run your business. And there are people already set employees to do that, and I'm happy for anybody succeeding in this. This is why, I mean, this isn't my part of the industry, so reporting on it or trying to understand it is more open discussion than it is me citing right, wrong, or indifferent. The right, wrong, or indifferent was cited in Allard, and the Constitution upheld our side of the argument. And when I'm ready to make another argument that is 100% sound, aside from taking shots at people like Chuck Grafisci, which I'll continue to do, Whistler Court for trying to charge patients, you know, $750 for starter clones after they just won their right to grow plants. That's sickening. I hope Whistler Corp is boycotted. I'll continue to call people out, you know, as applicable. And then, you know, those that come out with the compassionate pricing and doing what's right, you know, we have to conform. Unfortunately, we all need to conform, just like they do. They have to conform to us. We need to also conform to them as part of this emerging legalization market, and that's the trickiest part of this whole game, is finding what's going on and making sure that the people that I'm surrounding myself with anyway are a lot of people that are in industry, but also the activists and the people I surround myself with, I know are in it for the right reason. I don't care if they work with the licensed producers. I don't care if they're on the ground activists. What I care about is where their heart is, and whether they care about, you know, the patriotic issue of this that we're looking at when we're talking about cannabis as an end user and cannabis as a commodity in this country. If it's going to be a commodity, it needs to be free to the people and a free and democratic market in a free and democratic society. But of course, that's just what's expected. It's not what's going to happen. Hey Sam, how you doing? Yeah, no, Vicky and I are very well. Vicky's actually back in Ontario, sweating her butt off. I'm sure she's asleep right now. It's definitely late back there, but she's probably sweating her butt off. And but she's out doing her working with her son and doing stuff there that we needed to do. I was down to be able to visit for 3 weeks, but I also have my daughter who just started college, so we're juggling our two young adult kids that are both getting set to go off to college. So it's a juggling act, and it's something we've been doing. We haven't been really public about it, but in lieu of a lot of the innuendos and accusations and slander that seems to continue to come out of I don't know, these nannies that have nothing else to do but sit on their keyboards and talk shit about other people. It's unfortunate, but yeah, we decided just to come out and to be a little more so people understand at least, you know, where we're at, because it's not easy with a long distance relationship. So we're not always together. As you guys know, over Christmas last year, I wasn't with Vicky either. There was a very long period of time where we were apart because she was at home with her son. So that's been the tricky part of holding down our relationship, and not only that, an engagement. And yeah, I look forward to the coming years. So just so people are a little more understanding of that, because often they wonder what's going on, or they wonder why Vicky's not on the show, or they think that we might be fighting or whatever. It's not the case. It's more that we're simply we're simply dealing with whatever the schedules that we can permit. And yeah, I think that she'll be back out here in time for Bio Cup and back out here in time to attend a couple other events. And at the same time, both of us are working on what's most important, is our kids and our personal health. And that's the most I can say. That's what comes very important, is family, and family first. and also that we get ourselves fit and ready, that if we're going to actually pick up and want to and lead any sort of charge or be involved in any sort of positive output that is productive, then we need to be healthy and strong and be good examples of people that are healthy and strong. And right now, where I'm at in my life, I just got a little bit reinvigorated from my trip to Ontario, but I'm far from healthy and strong. What I am is recovering. I'm recovering from a 5-year war with the government, a 2-year war with some ass clowns that tried to fucking take my company, that tried to pretend to be Cannabis in Canada, that even tried to convince the country that they were Cannabis in Canada. Same people that crippled the coalition. Makes it kind of hard to want to. Makes it kind of hard to always want to push back, but you know, it is what it is, and we're happy now again, being reinvigorated, going to Ontario. It's you realize how many people have been touched in surrounding areas, small towns. I mean, areas that like Niagara Falls and Hamilton and Peterborough and, you know, and St. Catharines and all kinds of different areas around Ontario and Oshawa, where people have been impacted, and they understand this case, and they understand what's going on. And in essence, that's what we set out to do. It's what we set out to do. So, you know, in success, our leadership also found failure. And I think that's okay too. We only found failure because we decided to lower our banners and take a break. And we did it for the right reason. And a lot of us were tired and burnt out. And I think if you have it continuing to crash a ship, slowly into the rocks, knowing that you're doing more damage and eventually you're going to tear the hull open and sink the ship. It's smarter to pull back, slow down, and stop the damage, you know, and rethink your position and rethink what you're doing. And that's what we had to do as a result of trusting Jade Maple corporations with our financials and working with the coalition. So that's important for people to understand, that these people are one and the same with a lot of the damage that's out there. And that stuff that yeah, we haven't talked enough about. You know, our coalition has stayed quiet. We've sat back and allowed people to make their opinions and say their thoughts and do as they wish. But our lawyers are the ones that matter to us, and you know, they're the ones that set the record straight. And our membership really matters a lot. Again, for me, I was pretty much tired, and I know that my vice president, he's like my bro, right hand, and the rest of the leadership, we were all tired. None of us want to see a coalition go away, but none of us want to continue to sit there and play Facebook warriors. That's just stupid. We actually change policy on the ground. We affect real change. So where to find that balance, I don't know. I don't know where we're going to find it, but I'm hoping we do. For the sake of this country, I'm hoping we do, and for the sake of our culture, because there's going to be, I think the next 5 years is going to be trials and tribulations of policy and policy reform, and that's where we can either get engaged or we can get run over. I said this in 2012. We can stand down and let them move in, and they'll just remove home growing and take everything away. We can choose to go that route, or we can choose to go our own route. And again, choices. We need to remember that, and we need to yeah, well, the documentary, definitely, Kelly, will, again, this is something that I'm already comfortable with. This is where it makes it very awkward, and I think, you know, time tells all truths. It's my hashtag, but I think in time people will hear from, you know, hearing the documentary, but also, you know, the documentary is designed for the other Commonwealth countries to see what we done here and how we done it. Uniting different medical groups, bringing different medical leaders in the community, and bringing different community leaders in the industry together to support us, and how we did it. It was a very ad hoc approach, but now that the footprint's been laid, it can almost be a model that can be drafted and looked at. And that's the purpose behind the documentary. It's all I asked of Mr. Conroy and our legal team. It's a $1.2 million historic case, and all I asked for was the truth on video camera about how it went down chronologically from 2012 till present day. what happened in the Allard case. And that's what we now have documented. And that's important. But again, past tense. It's important past tense. It's not important to move forward. To move forward, we already know who our leadership is. We already know Providence is in truth, is in time, is in policy change, and is in those that are getting their ACM PR papers in the mail right now. That's effective policy change done by work of the coalition. When you get $10,000 paychecks from the big lawsuit, that's once again the hard work of the coalition and our members. Biggest cannabis lawsuit ever. For breach of privacy. I filed it personally. So what's next? Do we stand down, take down our home, take down our bats? We've already lowered our banners. Many people didn't even realize we lowered our banners. We stopped fundraising last year. People are just starting to notice now when they're hearing about us potentially disbanding. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Because, like I said, the model was designed to be dissolved. It wasn't designed to be long-term. We thought about making it long-term because others convinced us that it was probably the best interest. But there's a lot of people that want to turn a good thing into a bad thing. And I think until our membership, and you guys know who you are, if you support the coalition, then I think now's the time. And we've never said this. We've never, you know, said defend the coalition or you know, go out and fucking defend our name. Now's the time for you to decide for yourself where you stand and what you want. If you want to allow people to continue to besmirch the coalition without any foundation, without any proof, and besmirch our lawyers and suggest we're all liars and thieves, then our membership tells the leadership a lot that our membership doesn't really have the backbone to support us. And certainly we're not going to continue throwing punches for, you know, 10,000 people when 10,000 people can't support their leadership. I think I'll leave it at that. What was the question? Bonnie Sue, Zachary, that's a long name. I'm not sure of your name and I'm not sure of the question that you asked, but I've been rambling on, not looking at questions. But yeah. And it began, remember, there's no, this isn't really a show at this point. It never was a show tonight. I just kind of came on and did a random show. So we talk all that's cannabis in Canada. There's no right, wrong, or indifferent question or debate. We tried, as long as it's a civil debate, I'll debate anybody on the show. That helps to keep truth. Without any real media credentials, the only truth you have is your 10 years and your status. And you know, I often challenge people to show, you know, if you want to accuse people of stuff, whether it's my associates or myself, show your proof. But don't just talk shit behind people's back. Don't slander people. And to the people watching, don't watch, because you got to ask yourself where you stand. You can be a watcher, I guess, if you want to be in the bleachers, but if you want to get on the field with the rest of the coalition, then get on the field and start making some noise and taking some hits for the team and throwing some hits back, you know, because it's a collective effort. On that note, this is Jason Wilcox, and I am signing out for the night. I love you all, and seriously, guys, think about the collective action. Enjoy the fact of what we've done, and look at the possibilities of what we could do in the future if we could just work together. On that note, I love you all, and yeah, have a good night. Peace.